You want to go live? Trouble is, I need to turn the chat off so it don't fit.
What is going off my YouTube account here? Get a minute. There we go, there it is now, look. Oh, no, it's gone again. Quantity audios. It says I'm live now. There is nothing there. Live. It's set to public. Don't know why I can't fucking... I've got it. Copy.
God, I was then writing in the title, no chat enabled, and
for some reason it's just I don't want to do Streamlabs, so paste, bang, interact, full screen, click off review. Dan's gone quicker than Taker,
and Taker's instantly gone out of the pit.
And the rain's only going to get worse, so all this that they're doing now to clear the water, it's only going to get worse. Oh, I'll tell you where I haven't shared the stream yet. You nasty bastard.
Yeah. Keeps on that, you know, it makes me moist. I'll tell you what, Alex is up there.
Yeah, again.
And this is probably going to favour for Aston as well.
You'd think so a little bit, wouldn't you?
Definitely didn't play well. Changing the tyres to stop and balloon was the right call.
I don't think
but I lost out to Dean. I lost out to Dean. I would have beaten Dean if I didn't pit stop.
Yeah, but you did.
I did because I wanted to try it. Because if it worked, everyone would have done it, wouldn't they? How I say, put new tyres on. Boozy designs. Only 20 into still. No Joe, no Glarry.
Yeah. I'm expecting 25, I do believe.
No.
Yeah, 23 and then 2 reserves.
There's no Smokey. Yeah, I can't see Ramy Fernie. Yeah. Ramy Fernie.
It's funny you say that, Joe's now just checking.
What's...
We've just lost someone. No, in fact, by the way, I had some unexpected stuff to take care of. I ain't making it tonight.
What? Is that Joe?
Yeah. That's going to mess up grid order.
Yep, because he has to leave a space in it.
No, it normally sometimes glitches out.
Nasty bastard.
So it's down to 24, so we're waiting on Gary, Ramy.
Gary, Ramy.
Mr. Kowski in, yep, see him.
Yep.
Sully's in, yep. Losser's in. So it's two
Dan,
pro drivers.
Dan this.
So Dan Tibbs, Sky in, yep.
Yeah,
Mike's in, yep.
is here.
Tukowski's in, yep. Alex Powell's in, yep. Ramey's one.
Sam's in.
Sam's in. Clouden
is in.
He's in, yeah.
P8.
Gary is the other. P. Williams, yep.
Yep.
M. Harris.
Yep.
Siri, yep. Burrabex, S2M Burrabex, yep. Dennis Newman.
No.
Dennis is the third, so there's one more. Paolo. Yes. Dan, yes. Mutz, yes. De Hoffner. Yes. Shaggy, yes. Hef, or Graham, yes.
Graham, yes.
Joe, no. Overtaker, yes. Dan San or Jay Ward? So Dan SN, I can't remember his name. Jay Ward's in, so I reckon it's that Dan SN.
Yeah, Daniel Bushrock, or whatever his name is.
What's his fucking name?
Brookhant.
Bullshit.
Didn't he only turn up?
Bullshit. Yeah, he did race 2, but he
Bullshit,
actually
yeah.
confirmed this week properly, not just like he didn't confirm last week and then just did half the race.
Or like me, that's declined. We're all ready for next week.
Film on charge. We go live in a minute.
Tipples is in the pits.
Right.
You know, you stay out.
In. Five, 4. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to SimPlay Motorsport here for your Thursday night action. That's right, it is the pro drivers taking to the track tonight, and it should be an absolute belter of an evening. It is the night race here at Monza, and what a race this should be. Apologies, I do have somebody's stream coming out my phone there, so I do apologise for the noise you may have just heard. Yes, I have done an Orthodubs stream on, but we are live. It is the round 13 and 14 of Monza. I am your host, Matthew Duffin, as always, being joined in the commentary box by my pro co-commentator, PN Motorsport. PN, good evening. Are we looking forward to this one?
Good evening, Matt. Yeah, I think we're looking forward to this. There's about the same number of cars on track as there was last night in Pro-Am, and Pro-Am was interesting, to say the least. Yeah, let's see how the pros handle these tricky wet conditions in the dark at Monza. It's got to be fun.
Yeah, like you say, the tricky wet conditions in the dark here at Monza. It was very difficult last night until the track started to go a little down. So it's going to be interesting to see what the drivers can do. There is no Fury tonight. He will not be making tonight's race. And we are expecting Bourchier, Dennis Newman, Gary Leach and Ramy Fernie to be joining us in the racing tonight. So hopefully they all get on.
Gary's just joined.
Now there we go. So Gary is now in. So we have got 21 cars out there on the grid at the moment. So great to see. One thing you may notice tonight, though, is when we go to an Xbox driver, their lights are very dim. Dan may have covered this last night, but their lights are very dim. This is a glitch between Xbox and PlayStation. We cannot see their lights as easy as we'd have liked to, or as easy as the drivers out there would like to. It wasn't too hard as a driver last night to see bits go wrong, but at the moment it is the man who came in last week on his debut and took a race win. It is that man Sully, who is the quickest driver out there once again, and by 0.6 of a second at the moment, PN.
Yeah, looking handy. That Matt Black McLaren's going to be really hard to see tonight. But at the moment, I'm just getting my weekly V12 dosage from De Hoffner's Aston.
As the championship order then looks a little like this, it is Dan Davis, currently second place out there at the moment. He leads the way 11 points from his teammate, who is currently eating a kebab. Pre-race diets and all. He is second place, 11 points behind. Dan Joe is third, but not here tonight, which means Alex Power has a good chance of climbing up the leaderboard. He's currently sat in the pits as well. Gary Leach, who's just got in the lobby, he is down in fifth place in the championship and a real good chance to go ahead of Joe. Overtaker back this week after being absent last week. He returns. Drops down to P6 in the championship standings, but he's still in for that P3 fight. He's only 142 off the championship fight with 452 points. So mathematically, everything is still possible for him at this stage of the season. Sky Schundelmeyer is then a little bit further off the back of him on 209.7, tied with Jamal Clouden, who has had a good season climbing through the ranks. Ramy Fernie is MP9. He's not yet in the lobby. Then it is Graham, who is looking decent out there as well. In the Team FBR car. Luke, absent tonight, P11. Then it is Simon Blair, who looks pretty quick around here at the moment in P12. Paolo is in 13th place. He's been quite consistent and gone under the radar a lot this year. Ornash, P14, no longer with us. Siri is then in P15th place in the championship. We'll look to go ahead of Nash tonight. Then it is S2M Burrabex running in 16th place. Clawbull running P17. He's not here either. Sam is the next man. And just trying to find Sam's name on the list. We did have Sam a minute to go. Is he? He is. Yeah, he's P20. Apologies. P20 for Sam. Darren Yo work tonight. He's P19. De Hoffner is back in his Aston Martin. He is currently P20. P21 is Andrew Taylor, not with us tonight. Jay Ward is then P22. And I believe Jay Ward... No, it is Luke Damon who was on a qualifying ban. And he'll have to serve that next week as he is not here today. Losser is then out there as well. He is currently P23 in the championship. P. Williams is P24. And then it is Coutiers, DeFizz. Dennis Newman, like we said, not here at the moment, P27. Graham Sutcliffe, P28, not here. Glowbrighter, not here tonight. He's P29. Sully, as we've said, fastest man on the circuit so far. He is P30 in the championship. Then it is Tarkowski in his Audi, P31. Missed back after last week. Borcheri, we're expecting, is P32. Den Brave, P33. Shaggy is back out on the track tonight. He is P34. Then it is tech leader Costa, Marshall, and then two new drivers. Roy will not be with us tonight, but Harris is, and Harris on the leaderboard is currently rounding out the P10. So a good start for Harris at the moment out there on the track today. And PN, it's already Sully, who had such a good debut. Well, a hit and miss debut, I suppose, last week. A win and a 13th, but I believe a pole position to his name. Yes, it was a fastest lap. It was a great start to his season last week, and he's topping the timing sheets out there again.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad day. Well, it was probably best debut you can get, really, winning your first race. We're cross over the second race. Things didn't go according to plan, but...
Yeah, they didn't go according to plan. And one thing as well was his pace was phenomenal. Even though the plan didn't go well, he'll be starting high up the grid in this first race due to it being reverse championship order. He starts from P4. He's a man who really could win this race.
Well, if he's going to be 6/10 of a second faster than everybody else in the race, he'll be gone.
And he's... Look, he's mathematically still in the championship. He could be out of it by tonight, but he's keeping himself in it somehow. Yeah.
Oh, as I go back to... I missed this last week, the Hoffner's V12 Aston. It was sorely missed. And Gary has now entered the track, driving around in his Porsche.
The Constructors' Championship then looks a little like this. It is SimPlay Racing, 264 points clear of BTC. Jaeger with the Haggis Munchers, a further 129 behind them. Team FBR are P4. They're actually only 112 behind the Haggis Munchers, so they're closing the gap there. Ottinger All-Stars P5. Red Run Racing on his own P6. Joe leading the Independents. Button Bash Racing just behind him, but you feel Overtaker tonight will leapfrog Joe in that Independents class. And it's Greasy Bandit Racing, Stage 2 Motorsport, BDM as an independent head of Effect Motorsport, JB Racing Independent no longer with us, Two Old Hams, and then Audi Sport Racing Team. Who haven't we been on? Let's go on. Simon Blair. Manufacturers and McLaren won it last week. It is McLaren from BMW with Ferrari. Lamborghini, Porsche, Mercedes, Aston Martin, Bentley, Audi, Honda and Nissan has scored a couple of points as well. And Aston Martin and Mercedes having a good scrap. There is 32 points separating them. But as we know, on Pro Night, there is 1, 2, 3, because Luke's not here, only the 3 Aston Martins to score points and no Mercedes. So for Aston Martin, a chance to get ahead once again of that Mercedes-Aston Martin battle.
And then it's vice versa in Pro-Am with no Aston Martins and what, 3
No, there is
Mercedes?
MB Pitts is Aston Martin, and there is 1,
Oh.
2. There's 2 Mercedes because there is 3 because of John Gooday. Yeah, 3 Mercedes, and then obviously in Pro there would be Tech Leader as the only Mercedes driver out there tonight. The other battle to start watching as well is Ferrari are actually trying to close the gap to BMW. Well, with no Fury here tonight and only M. Harris in that BMW, you've got Mike Matthews, Jay Ward, Simon Blair and Graham all in a Ferrari, meaning that they could close the gap to BMW in that manufacturer standings as well. It's a game on for second place really here, Pian. This is going to be a fascinating one to watch throughout the season.
Well, it's like F1 really, when BMW used to bother being a constructor. With Williams was the last time and then Sauber, wasn't it, when they bought Sauber?
Yeah.
Sauber, the team that everyone gets hands around. Cloudon's out on track. It does look quite dark when you're looking at some of the Xbox users.
It is indeed. Good evening to Clarble in the chat, Micro J's or Ted J's as we call him, Micro Ted, and the Sparking Gamer vlog. Welcome as well. Evening, Jamie Brazier into the channel. Gonna be good to see.
Borchet's just joined the lobby, so we're up to 22. Who's caught my eye? Well, Alex is looking rapid this second half of the season, the Aston Martin.
Yeah, he is. He's really improved as Alex. He's really sort of come to the front. Mike Matthews currently down in 13th. We know he has been eating a kebab, so he'll be obviously raring to go for this second race. The rain's getting wetter over the next 10 minutes and half an hour, which means it's probably going to get wetter going into that race.
Yeah, because this session goes straight to the race, so it's definitely going to be more than mildly moist.
Yeah. Who do we think in race 1?
Oh, we'll put Sully if he's starting P4. Easily. If he can get round everyone clean through the first chicane and the second chicane, then that's very wide by Shaggy through the Lesmo 1. And he's took out a brake marker, and the other brake marker, well done. So yeah, I'm going to go for Sully for race 1.
Yeah, I think I'm going to join you there then. Borchet is now in. So we are, and Remy Fernie is now in. So the only driver we are missing is Dennis Newman out there tonight. Obviously, Fiore now a no-show, which means we are only missing Dennis Newman in this race. And yeah, it's going to be an interesting one, Pian, isn't it?
It is. It's got to be tricky, especially if the opening laps when the field's still quite bunched together, in theory. Unless there's a incident on the back straight between the Lesmos and the Scary Chicane, like there was in race 2 in Pro-Am last night. Make sure you go back, and if you haven't seen it, watch last night's stream. With commentary by Dan Davis. Good plugging. It was interesting in Pro-Am. Very interesting.
Yeah, it was indeed. Just going through here, sorry, just trying to make sure I've got everybody on the grid that is meant to be here.
Of course, the people don't show up because we put the grid in the server. When we go live on the server for the race, it's going to leave a gap in there, and it might put someone in the wrong position. And
well, we've had it before where somebody's missed. I believe it put Jay in Pro-Am to the back of the grid. I believe it put Overtaker got put to the back of the grid during one race. So, you know, it's put a few drivers to the back of the pack when it shouldn't have. So, you know, hopefully it doesn't do that again.
Well, yeah, because you may think it'd be easy to overtake when Monza, but it's wet.
Yeah, exactly.
It's wet this time round. It's not like a tight, twisty Alton Park or Hungaroring. Yes, it is Monza. Yes, it is one of the fastest circuits on the calendar. But it's also going to be tricky because the cars are going to be throwing off a spray, and you see that spray a lot more on the PS5 version and the Series X version than you do on back on the PS4 and the Xbox One.
Autumn Lynn, good afternoon to you in the chat as well. Then 8 minutes left of practice as the weather is getting worse. Alex Powers moved up into P4. So it is Sully from Dan and Overtaker. Dan and Overtaker, in fact, to be fair, Alex Pow, pretty close together of them three, only separated by 700ths of a second. Then you got Graham within a second as well, Simon Blair. Mike Matthews still down in 13th. Gary Leach at the moment, 4 seconds off the pace, who we're on board with.
We've just lost someone. I'm trying to figure out who. So who's down Overtaker? We have lost a driver, we just dropped down to 22. And we should have, what, 24?
23, with waiting for Dennis Newman, so yeah. Possibly lost one, hopefully they can get back in. On board with Mike Matthews, and he's behind his teammate Dan Davis out there on the track at the moment.
Mike's finished his kebab.
Yeah, he's obviously enjoyed that, got it down him.
Wonder what was in it.
Well, Donna meat, I'd imagine. Good evening to Peaceful Stepdad and good evening to Fat Bloke as well. Looking forward to another good stream. He says, yeah, hopefully we can put on a good show. Hopefully the pro drivers put on a good show as well. Jacob in the chat, come on Ginger Harris, he says. So great to hear from Jacob as well. Obviously, if you haven't done so already, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and hit the bell to be notified. We're back live next week. Rounds 15 and 16. No. Yeah, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Yeah, rounds 15, 16 next week, as we do now all back up to 23. It was Ramy Fernie who we had lost, I do believe. No, it might have been Shaggy, because Shaggy's ping is quite high, and that would then drop. Yeah, so as we go to Suzuka, we go to the Land of the Rising Sun, Japan, next week for the race. Should be an absolute belter out there. As Mike Matthews comes towards the line. See, Mike's been in the pits for a long time now. Times might not start to improve as... Obviously, we are into that phase of the track getting wetter, everything sort of the spray coming up worse, not really, you know, getting any better conditions-wise, so it's a lot to do. Here is Harris, our new driver. As Autumn Lynn in the chat is Sky's wife. So there we go, great to have Autumn Lynn here. I wonder where Tracy is, which is Sky's mum. Sky, a.k.a. Exist Tibbs.
Or Agent Tibbles.
And we'll go back to Harris when he's out there on the track. Losser in his Lamborghini Evo 2 with 5.5 minutes left of practice. PN, Overtaker, obviously missed last week, starts up the grid a little bit tonight. What can he do from them couple of grid positions higher than what he probably would have been P3, P2 in the championship?
Well, you've got to survive first, especially around here. These are very tricky conditions for anyone. You could be 8/10 up the road in lap times, but if you can't get through the pack because they're all falling over each other and you get involved, it could be curtains, and a lot of damage here crucifies you, especially in top. Well, just asked Hypertech last night. He had a red engine, didn't he? Apparently.
Yeah.
And at a place where you don't want to be have engine damage, where you need the horsepower.
Well, it was from the incident off the start line, and then he's, sort of hit the back of Kelly and got himself some big engine damage. Boucher still out there on a lap at the moment. 4 minutes 43. Just looking to see... There's a lot of drivers still in the pits now. Obviously, the rain is getting heavier in the next 10 minutes as Boucher goes around at the Parabolica. The rain is getting heavier in the next 10 minutes or so. And then it's going to sort of stay at the level it's at. So the track conditions may start to improve after 10 minutes, but by that time, and again, we'll show the drivers the timetable. Look, there we go, 9 p.m. It's actually a 2-hour gap. So whatever that weather's saying in that top corner isn't going to be what it will be at race time, because obviously we have that hour in between where the weather can do all sorts.
It could. I would say the sun come out, but not at 11 in the morning, 11 at night.
Yeah.
And there's no heat really in the temperature, so it's not going to dry as quick as it would.
No, although in the next half an hour the rain's meant to decline. So That'll be a bonus to see that declining for the drivers then coming into that first race.
Yeah, as I just saw something, but somebody crossed a line you shouldn't cross coming out the pit lane. But you didn't get it on your end, so unfortunately, if anyone's caught doing that, that'd be boom.
So here is M. Harris then out the pits on his debut today. We can't see him brilliantly, but he's in a BMW M4. It looks like a dark blue livery, a navy blue liveried coloured car there. Obviously Suzuka next week, daytime race. The rest of the season will be midday on the time zones. The weather will get locked in tonight for that Suzuka race. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens at Suzuka. But M. Harris, new driver to the lead, car number 34. What can he do, PN, tonight? He's obviously coming from the back of the pack, learning his trade here at SimPlay Motorsport. What can he do? What's he got to do to get to get a good result?
Oh, well, again, survive. That's what they've got to do first. As Jamie's telling me, you throw him in jail. Yes.
Oh, that's okay. Overtaker who's in the wall. That's coming through Parabolica. M. Harris has just gone past Overtaker. In the wall. Yeah, on the inside. Now, noticed last night, Pen, that it was very twitchy and slidey through there as Harris moves up to P9. So I wonder if Overtaker's just got on a couple of the puddles that may have formed.
I've noticed on the track edge.
We're also back down to 22 drivers, so we've lost somebody again. And it is not Shaggy.
No. Well, another thing I noticed is the edge of the track does get very poppy, because I found out on starting race one, and it was like, well, I'm on the grass now, I'm just going to stay here and let everybody go past.
Yeah, indeed. So Sully's coming round Parabolica now, and we get to see what he does in his matte black livery, as is Alex Power, but we get to see Alex's lights being on the PlayStation console. And Sully crosses the line, doesn't improve on his time. 69 is the next car, which is Mutt's Nuts. 1.5 minutes left, so drivers will be on their final laps of preparation here. Again, free practice. Lap time doesn't really count for anything, does it? It's all about what you do in that race.
Yeah, well, this practice is to make sure you got your setup right.
We're all back at 23, so we are okay. Apologies.
Yeah, it's just to make sure you got your setup right, but again, it's going to be completely different, because in 2 hours' time it could be 2 degrees colder.
Yeah.
And that makes a hell of a difference on tyre temps.
Oh, massively. So Mike Matthews will be the next one to the line. He will get a lap time on the board. Then it is his teammate Dan Davis, who we got a bit of stick from Nova in the Discord channel the other day, saying as if you've done Dan dirty like that. If you haven't seen it, it's the little YouTube Shorts video. We didn't do Dan dirty. That was Dan all himself that did that. As Mike's now coming towards the line, currently 1.9 off the pace, crosses the line now, stays exactly where he is, as does Dan. No improvement there. Overtaker's now on a lap. I imagine he may have a bit of damage to his car, though, if he did kiss the inside wall. But again, lap times means nothing. He's going to get one more lap in just to test the waters, literally, around this Monza circuit. He crosses the line now, doesn't find any more pace there. Gary 131, or Gary Leach as we know him, has 4.1 off the back of the off the leader. And funny thing, when Gary won his first championship, he won it around the outside at Parabolica at this track in these conditions. So won his first ever SimPlay Motorsport Championship in these conditions around this circuit.
Alex is having wheel problems. That was him who jumped out the server and jumped back in and see if he could get his wheel working. That's what he's just put in Discord.
Right.
Yeah.
So interesting.
I don't have that problem being a patch user. Being on controller, I don't have that issue. All I have issues with probably stick drift and a spongy right trigger.
The Sparking Gamer was a good clip. It was a good clip. What we'll do is, actually, let me find the clip and I'll put the clip in the YouTube chat. Or if you go to the YouTube Shorts, make sure you go over there and take a look at it. It was absolutely fantastic. Dan did it all himself. We can't take full credit for that. That was all Dan Davis.
It was.
Yeah. And it was brilliant. It was remarkable. It was absolutely fantastic. So then, session is coming to an end. Mike Matthews is the next one to the line. The 277 of Bourchier is still out there, but he's finished his times. Overtake car 21 of De Hoffner and car 42 of Jay Ward. They're all on invalid laps, so it is just Gary and Mike. Mike is coming into the pits. That was a little quick from Mike. Hopefully that's not going to penalise him. Gary's all out of shape. We're on the grid, PN, and the grid looks a little like this. It is Shaggy from Bolshare on row 1. Tarkowski and Sully row 2. P. Williams and Losser row 3. In fact, no, P. Williams on his own as there is a gap. And that gap...
It's where Dennis should have been.
Is where Dennis Newman should have been. Then it is Losser, J. Ward. I'm just going to load up my screen so I can make sure they are the right position. So Shaggy, Bolshare, Tarkowski, Sully, then Dennis, then Williams. So, yeah, then Losser, J. Ward, yep, De Hoffner and Sam, yep, Esteban Borobex and Siri, yep, Paolo and Simon Blair, yep, Graham or Fernie, yep, Clouden, then Sky Schundelmeyer, yep, Overtaker, then Gary Leach, yep, Alex Powell, then should have been Joe, it is now Mike, and then Dan, and then M. Harris. But if we go on board Mike a second, what I want to see is did that, we can't at the moment, did that leave a gap between Mike and Alex like it did the other drivers? Because there's Gary, then it goes to Alex, and then, yeah, I believe...
There is a gap.
Yeah, there is a gap,
Mike's on the same side of the road as Alex. You flick between the cameras.
So there is the two gaps from the drivers. So luckily enough, it hasn't glitched the lobby where it's put somebody out of position. That's a bonus.
Yeah, everyone's in the right position, but fingers crossed. Alex just said in Discord he's stuck up 60% force feedback, so his arms are going to get a workout.
Oof, yeah, aren't they just?
It could be worse, it could be 100% force feedback. As they begin the green flag lap. Warm up them brakes, warm up them tyres as much as you can. But you don't want to take too much life out of the tyres either. It's a very fine line.
So the poll going up now for who you think will win the first race. If you disagree with any of them votes, make sure you tell us. D. Bolshare, Sully, Shaggy, Tarkowski. I'm going Sully, you're going Sully.
Yeah.
So the pair of us going Sully there.
Shaggy leads them around in his golf liveried Audi. Because it is golf colours. Let's face it, it's golf colours.
Right. So who will win the first race of the evening? This is going to be the interesting one as well, because there's plenty of points up for grabs. 452 drivers' points up for grabs.
And I'm just looking at them.
And 852 constructors' points up for grabs. At the moment, based off of it so far, only Marshall, Roy and Harris cannot win the championship. So bottom three cannot win it. And every team can win the constructors as it stands. Even the independents can still win the constructors at the moment. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting one to keep our eyes on. It's going to be an interesting one to see as this night develops.
Track temp's now 8 degrees.
Yeah, so it has dropped. And if you look, the rain is just going to stay at heavy rain for the next 20 minutes. Yes, it's going to increase in half an hour. But in a 20-minute race, that isn't going to matter. Because then we pretty much then go a full 22 hours to get to 9 p.m. on the Sunday night. Again, there's a look at the schedule. 9 p.m. Sunday night is the next race, so that will change once again. You know, the weather will be completely different once more.
Yeah, and looking on some of the cars, it is wet out there. Well, judging by even the reflections of the cars in the camera.
Let's just go down towards Dan Davis, towards the back of the pack, who is going to be right in the thick of this pack here. Now, yes, they're not up to racing speed, but let's just go on board. In fact, and M. Harris we're on.
I think the saying is you can't see...
And this is on board M. Harris. Look at the spray. And this is at, 80 kilometres an hour. This is at slower speeds. And that is his vision. You know?
Yeah. It's nothing.
It is bad out there. It is bad out there.
And
we can't press drive until we get to the start. Probably should have done that after. So I've got to find my way to Shaggy. There he is.
On board should start with Shaggy. Into the...
No, don't have to be on board. I can change cameras, but... Yeah.
But... They should be double file now, because the call for double files after the Ascari chicane. There will be a cap, because unless... Yeah, there is a... It looks like there's a cap. So I don't think the grid's... Oh,
Oh, that's Harris.
Crash.
Yeah, Harris has just dropped it on the formation lap. So that's not the debut he'd have wanted, but they're all round in the Parabolica now.
Yeah, there is a gap in with where Dennis Newman should have been.
Which means there should be a gap then, where Fury was. But as we come down towards the line, we're going to press this as quick as we can.
And any second.
And we are green and go here for the start of the race. It is Shaggy who leads them all away from Bourchier, who's looking like he's getting a good launch. Tarkowski, it is McLaren's on the left, it is Audi's on the right. Tarkowski, it's Shaggy though who keeps the lead down towards turn 1. Is it going to be a mess at the start? They all break in. Shaggy side by side with Bourchier. Sully as well looking around the outside. It is all coming through turn 1 pretty cleanly at the moment. Bourchier's had to cut the first part of the chicane. That is a car backwards, and it is Siri who is backwards, and I believe there's a McLaren and a few others caught up in that. Clouden was the one, so all through pretty cleanly. It is Shaggy from Bourchier. In fact, no, is that Sully that is up to P2? It is, and Sully's already looking side by side with Shaggy, so he's gone from 4th, and he leads coming into the second chicane out the Curva Grande. Sully's in the lead from Shaggy. Then it is Bourchier, although there's a few cars off at the second chicane. That was Shaggy and Bourchier who are defending for their lives. Now we're going to wait for these drivers to come through the pack. I believe Dan Davis and Mike Matthews may have been caught up in that one as well. Siri and Sully, so it is Sully who leads from Shaggy, Bourchier, then it is Tarkowski. Jay Ward is having a look up the inside of Bourchier though, in towards the second of the Lesmos, and here's Jay Ward. No, he's off, he's in the wall, and that is Bourchier with him, and they've now just got to wait for everybody to come flying past. So a move there that has not come off further down the path. That was a car out wide. I believe that may have been Borough Beck's. Not too sure though. They're all coming side by side down the start straight. Overtakers up to P12. He's had a good start to his race. Oh, he's had a big clout up the rear. That was from a blue Aston Martin. I believe that was from Sam, who is getting Overtaker an almighty shunt up the rear, and Overtaker's off with big damage to the front. And Sam's tapped him off again.
Oh, this is chaos. I'll wait for Jamie to comment chaos in the chat.
So Sully coming through the Parabolica has a 2-second lead already from Shaggy. Then it is Tarkowski, P. Williams, Losser, De Hoffner, Borough Becks. We're probably going to have to wait as they cross the line. Is that Tarkowski having a look? No, it was not. In fact, it may have been, because he's got ahead of Shaggy, I do believe. No, he hasn't. De Hoffner, Moot gets the fastest lap. He's 5th. Losser, Borough Becks. Gary Leach now moves up to P8. Then it's Paolo, side by side at the minute with Sky Schundelmeyer as they come down towards the first chicane at the moment. Here comes Sky Schundelmeyer up the inside of Paolo. Later on the brakes, Sky Schundelmeyer through. Great manoeuvre from Tibbs. He's on the back of his teammate now. So then it is after Paolo, it is then Ramy Fernie. That is Mike Matthews missing the chicane. So again, the grid order is all done. Mike Matthews gives, that is Ramy Fernie, the position back. So Ramy Fernie moves back into P11. Then it was Mike Matthews. I believe that is now Simon Blair, who is not there actually. So I'm not sure who that is attacking Mike Matthews around the outside. It might be his teammate Dan. It could also be that of Graham. It is his teammate Dan. So Dan's ahead of Mike Matthews. That's crucial for the championship. No, he's not. Mike stays ahead. Then it's Graham, Alex Powell, Sam, M. Harris, Clouden, Siri, Bourchier, Jay Ward, and Overtaker's only just got back to the pits. That shows the extent of his damage.
Yeah, that does. And, well, meanwhile, 4.5 seconds in the lead is Sully.
Yeah, checked out up front. And Tarkowski at the minute looking side by side as they come down the straight up towards the Ascari chicane now. Here comes Tarkowski up the inside of Shaggy. Thank you, Mama, for the carrots. Great manoeuvre up the inside. Lovely work from him then. That is Borough Becks on the back of Losser. Just behind them is Gary and Exis Tibbs. Paolo just behind them. Then Simon Blair. Then it is Mike Matthews, who is currently got a car between himself and Dan Davis. That is Dan Davis pretty much pushing Smokey through the Ascari chicane, right up the chuff of him. And now Dan looks to get a better exit. He's not quite close enough at the minute. Dan Davis, though, crawling all over the back of the McLaren driver. Pulls out now. He's going to be aquaplaning on the puddles that is on that inside line. And breaks a little earlier than Ramy. Ramy's gone very, very wide, though. Dan's gone through. Oh, I thought Ramy was losing the call there. Graham also picks up another place. What about Alex Powell? Does Alex Powell get ahead? Graham's going to pit. First man in the pit window.
And
Gary Leach as well, yeah.
And I believe Clouden is in.
Alex Powell gets ahead of Remy Fernie. Now Clouden does get in. Bourchier stays out. Jay Ward was in on the pit window, so Jay Ward has actually done his stop. Shaggy has now got P. Williams trying to gain on the back of him. Shaggy, though, sticking with Tarkowski at the minute at the front. Is this Shaggy having a look? No, he's not close enough. Then it is to Hoffner. Currently P5. He's got Losser. Not far behind him. Then it's Burabecks. Then it's Sky Shundelmeyer. So Gary's pit means that he is cleared. Simon Blair looking racy on the back of Paolo. Simon Blair late on the brakes. Tries to have a look up the inside. Can't get the move done on Paolo. There's Mike Matthews. There's Dan Davis. That was Paolo who had to take to the escape road across the chicane. And is he going to let Simon Blair through? I believe he does. Yes, PN. Simon Blair is through on Paolo.
Simon's got a little bit of pace here tonight, hasn't he?
He's got a lot of pace. Good evening to Tracy in the chat. G. Leach done, Graham done, Clouden done, Jay Ward done, Overtaker done. Overtaker's just come back out on the circuit as car 42, Jay Ward, has nearly just put a lap on the Overtaker. So for Overtaker, first race back, a lot of work to do already.
Yeah, hell of a lot of work to do. Meanwhile, the leader's now up to 9 seconds.
Yeah, he's checked out up front, but credits to Overtaker as well, by the way, for keeping going in this race. Doesn't want that qualifying ban for the next time out. As Sky Shundelmeyer gets a great run over S2M Burabecks through the Ascari chicane. He's now going to come down the back straight towards a parabolic. The inside line is not the line you want, as long as the car on the outside can get it braked and turned in. And Tibbs just couldn't quite there. Looks to tuck back underneath where all the puddles are. He's done it an absolute peach on S2M Burabecks. Are they going to pit? No, they don't. And Sky Shundelmeyer side by side. Fantastic racing from the two McLarens. And it is Sky Shundelmeyer who is looking the better of the two. Burabecks coming back at him in the straight line. And for Sky, can he outbrake S2M into turn 1? Great racing from both. No, he can't. He tucks back in behind. And that is a great piece of driving from them two.
Whoa.
As Losser off at the first chicane into the wall. Dan Davis has also got ahead of his teammate Mike Matthews.
So Paolo's just done his stop. Sherry's in the pits as well. Gary, I'll tell you what, Gary might just get Paolo. Here comes Gary now, past the stop finish line. Yeah, he's not Paolo.
So Gary jumps Paolo. We're watching the battle with his teammate Sky Shundelmeyer and S2M Burabecks, and you have to say Tibbs is looking rather racy tonight. He's going fantastic. Sully's got his oars working overtime, says Jamie in the chat. S2M a little slow through the first of the Lesmos. Look at Mutz Nuts coming on the back of S2M here. Sheary is now away, so where will that put him when the timing screens update? But at the minute, Sully absolutely racing away out front, and it is Sky Shundelmeyer we're watching here, having a fantastic fight with S2M Burabecks. Mutz Nuts, Simon Blair is catching in the background though.
Yep, and quietly 4 seconds up behind road of Burabecks is the Hoffner in the V12 Aston.
Yeah, good result for the V12 Aston out there at the moment. And now, great little slingshot. Tibbs has a look again. He's not quite close enough. He thinks about pulling out once more. This time to the inside line at the Parabolica. No, he's tucked back in. Is he going to think about it on the brakes? No, once again, has to wait behind Burabecks. Maybe an undercut for Tibbs here is the strategy to play out. But a great start so far. Tarkowski in second place is into the pit lane. Does anybody out of this train think of pitting? Not at the moment. And Simon Blair is now on the back of that of Sky Shundelmeyer. So he is coming to play. He's within a second.
Yeah, and Dan's only 1.5 seconds behind this. So
Mike Matthews, by the way, just pitted. And he wasn't a million miles off the back of Dan. So is that a good tactic from Mike Matthews to possibly jump these four?
Yeah, get into some clearer air so you can see what you're doing.
Oh, that is Harris over the chicane at turn 1. We're not going to go back to that a second. We'll stay where we are because this fight is raging on. And this Sky's trying to catch on to the back of S2M, who's just pulled away a little bit. Dan just starting to reel in this of Simon Blair at the moment.
Yep, as
oh, Shaggy's made a mistake. Shaggy's just made a mistake. Apologies. He's down now behind P. Williams and Hoffner. And this is Burabecks looking up the inside into the first of the Lesmos. They just lean on each other ever so slightly. And that is S2M through on that of Shaggy. Shaggy now coming under pressure from Tibbs at Lesmo 2. Tibbs thinks better of it. And while these are all fighting on, this is going to allow Mike a good bit of pit stop. Bourchier now has done his pit stop. And Tarkowski does lead that of the lead pit runners.
Oh,
Bourchier! Speeding in the pit lane. Yeah, speeding in the pit lane. That'll give Overtaker a lifeline.
Yeah, well, should do, shouldn't it? But he's lost nearly a lap to
He may have just unlapped himself though from Bourchier. Tibbs gets a good run over Shaggy onto the back straight. Tibbs is in the thick of the battles here. He's having a good race. He's ahead of Shaggy. Now Shaggy's coming under some immense pressure from that of the Mutsnuts. And here comes the Mutsnuts. Already pulls out on Shaggy. Going to look up the inside into the Parabolica is Mutsnuts. Simon Blair doesn't get the car in front though. Has to stay where he is. So not great at the moment. And is anybody going to box? No. Yes, Mutz and Dan Davis.
Yeah, they're probably seeing Mike's pace. He was just pitted. Because Mike... What, just close?
Fermi in. Harris in. Oh, that of Sam has just wiped out the speed marker, I think, for the pit lane. So they're all in. Tarkowski is the lead runner. Gary Leach actually got in front of Mike Matthews, but he was ahead already before the pit stops.
Yeah, he was already ahead, so... But now, people are probably going to get caught speeding.
People might get caught speeding. Simon Blair off the limiter, not just yet. Dan Davis has jumped Simon Blair in the pits. And where's Mike Matthews? He's coming through now. Gary Leach, will Gary Leach get ahead of the two that's coming out the pits? He's got ahead of both of them, yes. What about Mike Matthews? I don't think he'll get ahead of any. He's possibly going to get ahead of the Mutsnuts. He does indeed, so he's got ahead of Simon Blair, but his teammate is still ahead of him. But now Dan Davis has got to get past his old rival of Gary Leach.
Yeah, meanwhile, Solly's nearly got enough time to change the gearbox. He's half time in front. 96 speed in the pit lane.
Yep, 96. That is Sam speeding in the pit lane. Bush, yes, has a stop go as well. No sparking gamer. Which one? Me or the other guy for working at Alton Park? If so, none of us do.
No, mine was just Snetterton. So.
Sam under pressure from Alex Powell, and I believe Alex Powell has now got ahead of Shaggy, so he's through. S2M still under pressure from that of Tibbs behind, but Gary Leach now is going to come under pressure from Dan Davis and Mike Matthews. All these three will be in a party together. Overtaken now. Where's he on the circuit? He's at the first of the Lesmo. Sam is at the second chicane. Bourchier is at the second chicane, having a fight with Ramy Fernie. Them two have got stop-go penalties. I think Overtaker is potentially on the same lap as these guys just when he crosses the line. So Overtaker a chance of maybe getting two places. Alex Powell's in the pits.
Has Alex been caught speeding though? That is the question. We've now the limit board gone.
Well, we'll find out. Ian Gray in the chat, at this rate Sully could speed in the pit lane just for the fun of it, says Ian Gray in the chat. Well, what an opening race it has been for him. Alex Powell is now coming out of the pits. He's got a short distance to go, but Gary Leach is going to take that place from Alex Powell. This puts Gary up into P8 at the moment. Dan Davis gets through as well, as does Mike Matthews and Simon Blair, and potentially Paolo and Clouden and Graham. But Gary versus Dan, it's the old rivalry going at it once again here. And Dan Davis has had the number of Gary a few times this season, but Dan a little twitchy. Simon Blair off the circuit. Mike needs to hope that Gary holds Dan up a little bit here and gets Mike back on the back of him.
Yeah, again, he's 2 seconds off P. Williams, the Hoffner.
Yeah, but yet to pit though, so we'll see when the pit stops come around. Sully, 21 seconds ahead of P. Williams. He could probably afford to change his tyres at this rate. Because the gap to Tarkowski is pretty much a lap nearly. What number is Tarkowski? He's number 884. Who is at the second Lesmo. And the leaders just crossed the line. Sam and Bourchier in. So while we jump back to this Gary fight, where's Overtaker? Second chicane. Sam stationary, Bourchier stationary. So, alright, Overtaker might not get them while they're in the box, but he'll be closer to them on the pit exit. So as Williams comes in, Gary Leach is now getting Dan within a second. Mike 1.7 behind.
Bubba Beck's in, Tibbs is in.
Sky's in, Shaggy's in as well, yep, so they're all in.
All but the top two now to pit.
All in, and they've got 3.5 minutes left. Just looking at Sam. Sam's away, Bourchier is now away. Overtaker is a Tascari. So, yeah, alright, he's not got past him on the stop-go, but he'll be closer, a lot closer to them.
lot closer to him, but he's also going to start getting the problem of being lapped. And you have to move over.
Leader's still got to pit though, so we'll see what happens. Leader has still got to pit. If Sully keeps this up, he'll lap the whole field in the 45-minute race. Might be different though in the 45-minute race, Greg, because Sully started P4. Everybody else started at the back, so we'll have to wait and see what happens there. The rain, though, is getting worse as this night rolls on. Gary still has Dan Davis behind him. Mike has got a little closer. And Tibbs has actually came out. He's jumped Borough Becks. But Sky Shundelmeyer has come out behind all this lot. So where's P. Williams in this fight? P. Williams has just gone round the Curva Grande as Gary Leach is. So Gary Leach, P5 at the moment.
Not bad race for Gary. Wishing it was... Ooh, Williams cut the chicane.
Yeah, just saw that. Where's Tarkowski? Tarkowski's only 4 seconds up the road. So Tarkowski's going through the Lesmos.
Sully's in.
So Tarkowski's gone through the Lesmos here, while these boys are coming through now. So Tarkowski's not a million miles away for Gary to possibly get a podium.
No, as does De Hoff. Well, he's got time to do one more lap, roughly, but...
No, he hasn't. He hasn't. 153
no,
a lap, and he's not even at the start line. De Hoffner in. Gary and Dan side by side as they come to Ascari. Dan on the outside line. He's going to try and go around the outside of Gary at the Ascari chicane. Great respect given by the pair of them. Bit of contact made down on Gary, and Gary has a little wobble, and Dan's now going to sail through. Gary dropped a wheel into the gravel trap there, and was that from a little tap from Dan? Mike Matthews as well gets past Gary Leach. So a little bit of great side-by-side action, but I think contact from Dan Davis on Gary Leach put Gary off of line, and Dan's gone through.
Yeah, Sully's done his stop. Tarkowski's just crossed the line. De Hoff's done his stop, but he's got to come off a limiter. Tarkowski's fast. P. Williams is probably going to get him, and here come the gaggle of Dan and Gary. Yeah,
they're all going to get to Hoffner, who comes out the pits now. Gary's dropped a long way behind, and now Mike's got to try and stick to the back of Dan Davis further down the pack. Alex Power is on the back of Borough Becks, and look at these lot coming out the pit lane. There you see is De Hoffner with Tibbs on his outside, and now he's got Borough Becks on his outside, who tucks behind. Then it's Alex, then you've got Graham, who's just got ahead of Paolo. Paolo's now going to try and tuck back underneath. Does he get the exit he required? They're side by side, but Graham looks like he's got the job done. Look though at Alex Powell round the outside of the Curva Grande. Thank you, Mama, for the carrots. And Dan now can start to pull away from Mike a little bit and have P. Williams on his back.
Yeah.
Oh, Gary Big Wiggle hobbles over the curb.
I know, Simon Blair having a look inside on the first Lesmo. Oh, he's got to be close. Simon's passed. Gary had another little wiggle on the curb. Yeah, Gary's having a few moments here. It looks like Dan starts to pull away. So it is Sully, who is coming down towards Parabolica from Tarkowski, who's not even at the sector time yet. Crosses that sector time now. 21 seconds is the gap. Probably had time for a tyre change, did Sully. Then it is P. Williams, but he's got Dan Davis coming. Then it's Mike Matthews. Then it is Simon Blake, Gary Leach. Then Sky Shundelmeyer. And in a straight line, De Hoffner's Aston Martin is flying. Gary's off at Ascari. So his race has gone from bad to worse and was off at Ascari. De Hoffner a little wide as well. Down the order, Graham now looking on the back of S2M Borough Beck. Stage 2 Motorsport versus Team FBR. I believe they all are from the FBR stable. And just behind them, I believe it's Paolo and Shaggy. No, it wasn't Paolo and Shaggy then. It may have been Harris and Clouden. Harris P15 at the moment, so not too bad for Harris. Nope. Here come a battle brewing between P. Williams, Dan Davis and Mike Matthews. Yeah, Mike's got back within 4 tenths. And this is not the final lap of the race. The leader's so far up the road, there might be one more after this. And this is a three-way battle for the podium. Tarkowski 6.5 seconds up the road. So Tarkowski looks like he's probably set on the podium with Sully. And that'll be a great drive for Audi to get on there. For Audi Sport Racing team.
But for an Audi in general, it'll be Audi's first podium this season. P. Williams will be looking at a podium, and this is why we love the reverse grid race 1 of 20 minutes, because it can throw up some surprises like it. Tarkowski and Williams haven't been on the podium all season. And he's just got to hang in, really. One lap, possibly, depending on if Sully decides to slow down. But Dan Davis, it's gloves off at SimPlay Racing, you reckon, this season. It is Dan Davis versus Mike Matthews. This is the real fight that everybody's come to see. 11 points in it in the championship. Dan cannot afford a mistake because Mike Matthews will pounce.
He will pounce indeed.
Williams, Dan, Mike coming through. Dan's going to look up the inside. This time at Ascari, he now fancies the inside line on Williams. He's backed out of that one, though. He was a bit bouncy over the first couple of sausage curbs. May have unsettled his car a little bit. It doesn't. But Mike not close enough to capitalise.
They broke away from Blair, these three.
And the leader is on the final lap.
Meanwhile, both BTC Jaeger racing boys, you could throw a blanket over them. They're that close.
Dan taking a tighter line through the Parabolica compared to Williams, and I don't know if it worked for him or not. He seemed to get a better slingshot on the exit of the corner, and now Dan's looking to go up the inside of Williams, coming down towards turn one. Who is going to be latest on the brake? So that's going to be the biggest question. Will Mike decide to follow Dan through? He doesn't look to be doing it at the minute. Can ill afford a car between himself and Dan Davis, and Mike's going to look up the inside and follow his teammate through. Dan's gone a little deep. He's had to bounce over the curb, and he's going to wait. He's going to be slow. He loses out to Mike Matthews. And is Paul Williams about to get through? Yes, he does. And what Mike didn't need, Dan now has. It is a call between the pair of them. And Dan, on the last lap of this race, has got to get past Williams.
The excitement building. Alex has gone ahead of De Hoffner. I was just getting confuddled there. Don't mind me.
Gary, Tibbs, Alex Powell, De Hoffner all having a great little fight for 7th, 8th and 9th, but it is P. Williams who's got Dan Davis putting him under pressure. He's gone a little wide though through the first of the Lesmos. Dan will have that inside line, which is a little tighter. Williams tries to outbrake Dan at the second Lesmo. It's not going to work. Dan Davis is up the inside and through, but we turn our attention to Sully, who won the sprint race last week from the back of the grid. He's now going to win the sprint race again this week and take the fastest lap. He's been a man on a mission, and Sully is the man to take yet another race win. It is fantastic from Sully. Tikowski looks like he's going to come home for second place. What a result for that man. That is incredible from Tikowski. His best result was 9th 2 weeks ago. That was at Alton Park. And he's going to come home for a P2. We'll turn our attention to that final podium spot in a moment. But Tikowski will cross the line. P2 for him. And Mike Matthews has done enough to hang on in there. He's going to pull points back over Dan Davis. It is P3 for Mike. He pulls 4 points back over Dan Davis. P. Williams, great fight at the very end for P. Williams. What a battle. He'll take 5th place. Then it'll be Simon Blair. Good race for Simon. P6 for him. P7 goes the way of Gary Leach. P8 the way of Sky Schundelmeyer.
P9 Alex.
P9 Alex Powell. Sorry, I'm just trying to input the results as we go. P10 for De Hoffner. Graham. Where's Graham on my list? There he is. P11. Borough Becks will be P12. P13 for Paolo. Shaggy, P14. Not a bad race for Shaggy. Just made the mistakes at the beginning that possibly cost him when it come to his pits. Can't find Shaggy on my list. Too many names. There he is. Shaggy, P14. M. Harris on debut. Good debut. 15th place. Can be happy with that. Points there. Then it was Clouden, who was P16. Not a good race for Clouden, that one. Not his best. Siri was P17.
P18 Lossa.
P18 Losa. Ramey Fernie. That's a bad one for him. P19. Yep. P20 was Jay Ward. P21 then was Sam. 22 for Bourchier. And Overtaker P23 rounding out the rear then. That then is the end of the sprint race. What a race it was. We'll be back for qualifying in a few moments' time. Do not go anywhere.
Do I hear salt from Daniel?
Did you tap Gary? No, I never touched Gary. Me and Gary didn't make contact, man. Unlike you and Gary, you would make contact. Make contact. We know how to race, don't we? Yeah, we do. I'm looking back, but I'm so annoyed I missed my brakes.
Well, where did you put them last time, Dan?
I'll say I had a great race that for us. Yeah. It literally was whoever fucked up at the right point. Because I made a few fuck ups and you managed to.
I think Tarkovsky's happy with his P2.
Oh, I'm looking at it. I'm just going to run up to the toilet.
There's Mike.
Hello.
Hello.
Matt gone.
For a piss.
Alright.
Oh, Dan missed his brakes. Oh, I'll have that.
He was
Sleep through.
demoed. He was fucking gutted.
I heard Matt put his stream on and hear it down his headset.
So I needed 40 litres then, so it's standing at fucking 80 litres pretty much.
And overtake ahead of me.
He had a tango with Sam, didn't he?
Thinks that there's tangles everywhere.
Me and Gary never touched, by the way. Never touched in a Ascari.
He's not
Only
here.
Pien's here, Matt's not here.
I was just telling you, PN. I didn't touch a single driver. I don't know why Williams was flashing at me. Williams at the end flashed
Yeah,
at me.
you did. You did touch a single driver.
Oh yeah, I touched you and Smokey.
It's me and Smokey. I might have to put that in, get you demoted.
I gave you the place back, you prick.
I know you did.
I gave you and Smokey the place back. Oh, fuck's sake. I'm so annoyed about turn one.
That would have been a good pass if it worked, wouldn't it? Just Mike followed
Imagine
you.
doing all the fucking hard work just to bald it up. I was listening to you on your stream while sat having a shit, you knobhead. You don't read your
Do you know the
comments.
annoying thing? Right, yeah, I'm reading your comment. I can see him.
Alright. I heard you say 3 times I'm going to tell Matt I didn't tick Gary. I'm like, yeah, I'm sat up toilet, I'm listening.
Mate, I didn't hit a single driver, except for Mike and
Yeah, you
Smokey.
did it, Mike and Smokey.
Yeah, I let them have the positions back.
I didn't see it, I heard Mike.
He was like, you cheeky fucker, you're overtaking me going through Curva Grande. And I was like, well, go on then, go back past.
It's like, you done.
I waited for you two, and then you both went past. It wasn't my fault you had a shit run through turn one.
You did all that hard work to get ahead of Williams. Great fight to watch, really was.
He flashed at me, man, at the end. I don't know why.
Probably pushed him wide at Lesno's.
I barely touched
Yeah,
him. I didn't touch a single driver bar my teammate.
Bad driving, making contact, pushing
I didn't
people
hear a
off.
single driver.
In all fairness, I said on commentary, I said the gloves are off. Constructors are one, so gloves are off between you two. It's just a
Mate,
straight
that was a
fight.
great race, to be fair.
Oh, fucking annoyed myself. The thing is, I was like, don't miss the corner. Don't miss the corner. Of course, I'm panicking about the fucking puddles and the aquaplane. And I get to turn one, I was like, I managed to survive. I look up and I went, oh shit, there's the 150.
Yeah. Taker looked like he got a bit of a twat up the chuff at Ascari, lap one.
Oh, mate, it was just...
Yeah,
that's what he was
I think
basing
it was
on.
Sam in the blue Aston.
Sam, who was, yeah, we passed both of them.
And Overtaker just braked into Ascari, and then that was the only really... We saw a few cars spin, but that Sam on Overtaker was the only one that we really saw an incident.
There was
By the way, you know...
a few spun it turn 1 in the middle of the hairpin, but it wasn't like a massive crash. It was more everyone was slow trying to get round them.
You know, when me and Gary were heading down to Mascari, we both hit a puddle, and both of us aquaplaned and both had a wobble at the same time. It was fucking sketchy.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know how we managed to get through Mascari without hitting each other. Really don't know. I'm just annoyed that I missed fucking turn 1, and this prick gained what? How many points did he gain on me now? I had 11 on him. Now what is it?
3.
You gained 3, you cunt.
Yeah, motherfucker, they all count.
Fucking whatever the fuck he's called, Sloth or whatever he's called, was fucking gone. So I won't worry about him. And he took fastest lap, the little bastard. I can get that back.
Sorry, 4 laps. He's caught you by 4 points.
Ah, fucking
boy.
great.
Oh,
8 points now.
7.
I think Sherry's left the lobby.
Huh?
7.
Sherry's
7.
gone.
Yeah.
Sure, he's gone. Thank fuck for that. He don't like the driving, apparently.
Yeah, he's just put,
No,
guys,
he's-
this is no longer funny. Not a single race in the championship is clean on the first corner. Somebody's
Well, it
left.
takes
Somebody has just
everyone
messaged me
to
saying,
fucking
can I miss
tango."
race 2? I've not got a feeling for a car. I don't want to be dangerous. Ah, it's Losser.
The thing is, they've got to fucking take self-responsibility as well. I crawled, even Harris behind me, we crawled into turn 1. And I had my steering on full lock to
I did a
steer
360.
round another fucking car.
I did a 360 in turn 1.
Yeah. And it's I crawled through it and I still got fucking third. So as long as you're sensible at going into the corner, it's everyone.
Pricks. Fuck it. 4 points, bastard.
Yeah, 7 points the gap.
I'd be shit as Azuka.
So that's Rossi who's just left as well, is it?
Losser's just saying he's not got a feeling for the car. He feels like he's driving a bit dangerously. So
I just realised something. Mike,
we've
you
lost
keep
another one.
crawling back as much as you possibly can, but you miss Kyle Army.
No, I might miss Kyle Army.
Let's make it happen, shall we, boys?
I think
I've not won a championship on ACC yet.
I've not won a championship, so hey ho.
He's not won a championship at all, Mike.
I'll top trump that one.
This no. Other than being in the same team, Dan going for his 8th title, Mike's going for his 1st.
I'd like to point
2021.
out. I'd like to point out you won Pro-Am last year on ACC.
Don't count. Pro-Am don't count.
You won
I'm
Pro-Am.
going for my 8th title, Lewis Hamilton, while Mike is going for his 1st. Rightfully,
I'm going
Max
to fuck you up
Verstappen.
at Kyle Army because I'll be on my PS4
Oh,
if I'm not there.
oh, my God, we could be like Max Mulder. Michael Massey, we could be like Michael Massey in the fucking steward room here. Right, who do we want to fuck up?
Well, clearly me, innit?
Alex Powell wins, yes!
Oh, looks like somebody's had a spin. Oh, it's Gary. He's put it in. Oh, how convenient. Now safety car. Only the handful of cars can get past. Right, Mike. Enjoy your fucking interview, you cunt.
Yeah, get out of the comms box. Come back when you get on the
Fucking
podium.
prick. Yeah. You're welcome, by the way. I made that fucking easy for you, by the way. I gave that to you. Just remember that. I've given you, just remember how much I've given you this season. I've given you a fighting chance in the constructors. I say
Well,
fighting
yeah,
chance.
you
I've
did.
just fucking absolutely annihilated it. We have. Sorry. And yeah, I've possibly have given you a championship.
293 points ahead with 746 left to play for.
Don't fuck it up, Mike.
Mate, I had a clean race, so he's gone. Scared, isn't he?
He goes in his stream after you left party. He goes, "Fucking Mike, beat me again." The annoying thing is he's actually driving really well. He said that to Gary.
Mate,
I'm sat on shit tower dying.
Oh, after I left?
After you left the party, he's like, "Fucking
Yeah.
Mike, do my head in." But he's driving really well.
Mate, I was up his arse. Through a Ascari, I am rapid compared to him. He's slow through
When I said,
Ascari.
"Did you eat Gary?" Because Gary got a shit run. On my camera angle, it looked like Dan had like, and it wasn't like a big hit. It was like the slightest tap.
Yeah.
But it must have been Gary having a
No,
wiggle.
he just went deep, yeah.
Oh, good race to be fair. I didn't see many. Like I say, bar the overtaker incident. I didn't see many.
No, like I say, a couple spun at turn 1, but it was avoided. It was just slow getting round them. And fair play, they sat there and waited. but I had to go from full lock right to full lock left to get round turn 2.
What's lock? I want a controller.
Hold all the way right, all the way left.
I know what it is in the car. I was just saying, when you're on the pad, you've only got 90 degrees right and 90 degrees left.
Welcome back then, ladies and gentlemen, to SimPlay Motorsport here for that second qualifying of the evening. The championship standings look like this with 396 points up for grabs. It is Dan Davis who leads the way, but he's now only 7 points clear of his teammates in this championship fight. So very, very close battle between them. Alex Power 118 behind. Gary Leach moves up to P4 ahead of Joe, who is 30 points clear of Sky Schundelmeyer. Overtaker has now dropped down to P7 after Sky goes ahead of him. Jamal Clouden is 9 points off the back of Overtaker. Ramy Fernie 9th with Simon Blair. Good race for him up to 10th. Graham moves into 11th ahead of Paolo and Luke. Nash stays 14th with Seri dropping down. Staying in P15. Esteban Burra-Bex is 16th. Sam 17th. De Hoffner moves up to 18th place ahead of Clarbel. Darren Yo 20th. P. Williams 21st. Good race for P. Williams. Andrew Taylor 22nd. Sully with a second race win is P23. Not far behind Andrew Taylor already, and still somehow mathematically keeping himself in this championship equation. Jay Ward's 24th with loss to 25th. Tarkowski is P26. Great P2 for him. Gucci is 27th. And DeFizz, who no longer can win the championship from 28th down, can no longer win it. Dennis Newman, Graham Sutcliffe, Glowbrighter, Bourchier, Den Brave, Shaggy, Tech Leader, Costa, Harris, Marshall. And then Roy, who we are yet to see Roy and Marshall, but Roy was a new joiner for this week, got called away on work late on, so will not be able to make tonight, which is a shame to not see him make his debut. In terms of then the Constructors' Championship, 293 points is the gap. SimPlay Racing lead from BTC Jaeger Racing. They're on 985 points, so can break that 1,000 point barrier tonight. Then it's the Haggis Munchers, Team FBR. Behind them, the Ottinger All-Stars P5, Red Run Racing P6. They stay where they are. Stage 2 Motorsport go ahead of Button Basher, who is an independent. Then it is Greasy Bandit independent, BDM Motorsport independent. Effect Motorsport can no longer win it. Neither can JB Racing. He's no longer here, so that won't happen anyway. 2 Old Hams and then Audi Sport Racing Team, even with that good result. McLaren, BMW, Ferrari, Lamborghini, Porsche, Aston Martin do go ahead of Mercedes. Then it's Bentley, Audi, Honda and Nissan. And I'll tell you what, with them good results for the Audi there, with Shaggy and Tarkowski, that could mean that the Bentley boys have to start looking over their shoulder with a few Audis. We all though joined by Mike Matthews in the chat, and what a race one that was, Mike. That was spectacular.
Yeah, it was a fun race. It was pretty close at the end. Due to Dan going a bit deep into turn 1, cost it for himself. But yeah, quite an enjoyable race to be fair, considering the conditions.
Considering the conditions, indeed, it was the back of the pack start for yourself, so it was work to do. What was turn 1 like? Obviously, we've seen a few turn 1 incidents this season, but probably the most difficult turn 1 to get right in the dry and daylight. You got it in the wet and at night time.
Speaking of which, I'm just going into it. Yeah, it weren't too bad compared to previous races. It was relatively clean. A couple of cars were spun, they stayed where they were, and we managed to zigzag through them sort of cleanly, and then it was just picking off places as people struggled.
Yeah, indeed it was. Good race though. He was on the back of Dan, who had Gary, and I know you three are in the party chat together. Gary kind of keeping Dan at bay for a little bit, let you get back onto the back of the pair of them to have a really good scrap.
Yeah, same when he was behind Gary, that helped a bit, and then same when he was behind Williams, he held Dan up a bit, and then obviously turn 1 I managed to make a move on Williams. Dan went deep, so I managed to get past them both. But yeah, it was pretty good, pretty even paced I think throughout the race. 7
points in it. The Constructors 293 points. You can kind of relax when it comes to that as a team. But are the gloves off?
Oh, sound like Donkey Kong.
Are they off though? You know, a good fight between you and Dan. No team orders.
Oh yeah, we'll have a good scrap, but still keep it clean. And if you go deep, you give the place back, sort of thing. both been racing a while, so yeah, we have that respect between us. But yeah, it's going to be a fun last couple of races.
It is, and it's got kind of Max Verstappen, Lewis Hamilton vibes to it, hasn't it? Bar being in the same team, it's one man going for his 8th World Championship and one man going for his first ever World Championship, or SimPlay Championship.
Yeah, I think it depends who can befriend Gary the most and get him to hold up the other one, really.
So, final question. Sully's came in, 3 races, bar a poor race 2 at Silverstone. He's took 2 sprint wins, taking some points off of you and Dan.
Yeah, he has some serious pace. Clean racer when we've had little races with him, and especially in the wet, he's like a rocket. He's going to be hard to beat in the wet.
Like a rocket. Mike will let you get back to it. And Pierre, just want to point out, we saw last night in the Pro-Am that it was 2 race wins for the Ferrari and a podium tonight. So the Ferrari, pretty good. Who'd have thought it would have been a good track around Monza?
Well, the old F1 team used to do in the past is deliberately bring a more powerful engine at Monza. You know, when you could change engines every race. Well, every session even. As Luke's in the chat saying greetings from the assembly and only the best from his teammate Hoffner.
Yeah, I know that
Who
Luke
got a P10 in race 1.
He did, yeah. Good race for that Aston Martin. Here comes Sully. Didn't improve that time around. Just looking at who the next car is. It is 227. That is Graham. Get your voting in the chat. Sully, Dan Davis, Overtaker, or Graham for pole position as Graham moves into P2. Gary Leach is then coming towards the line as well. Can't see where Gary Leach is. Bourchet's just coming out the pit lane. Jay Ward has just started the lap. Gary Leach is down in 9th. Let's pick up car 81, who is Paolo, about to set his first flying lap, and then we'll pick up Mike, who is coming through the Parabolica. Paolo moves into P7, and here comes Mike then rounding the Parabolica with 8.5 minutes left on the clock. 53.0 from Overtaker is the benchmark, so a great lap from Overtaker, who didn't have the race one he'd have wanted. He's got work to do in this second race. Mike Matthews, though, is going to come towards the line now and only improves to P7. Car 34 is the car behind him. That is Harris on his debut. Not a bad outing, P15, so it was good to see. And here comes Harris towards the line. What is he going to set for his first qualifying time here at SimPlay Motorsport? Currently goes P9, so quicker than a few drivers out there at the minute. It's 96 next to the line, who is Sam, who was obviously the driver involved in that incident with the Overtaker early in race 1.
Yep, and pretty interested to see what Sully can do. He just had a twitch come through the 2 Lesmos. I was watching him at that time, so he would have lost a little bit of time there. With the car got tank slapping him. Alex is up there in the top 4.
Yeah, he is. Who won that race? It was McLaren, wasn't it? Sam comes to the line. So McLaren now 2 race wins behind Lamborghini. Sam goes P12. Next car is 188. That is going to be then Sully. 4 tenths off the back of Overtaker, I believe, has just come out the pit lane. Not sure who is the car behind Sully. It is Tibbs. We'll go to the 227 of Graham. Not sure who is just in front of him on a valid lap. Sully to the line. Finds a bit of time, but does not improve. I believe it is possibly Alex Powell who crosses the line. No, it was a driver further down the order. It was Jay Ward. Graham crosses the line. He doesn't improve any. Gary Leach will be next as well. What is he going to do? He moves up to P9. Then we've got Simon Blair, who is down in 17th. That is not where he'd have expected to be. He's had good pace, but this isn't the...
He's up to 13th.
Oh, he's up to 13th now. Brilliant to see. Paolo towards the line before the 111 of Alex Powell. Paolo does not improve. Alex Powell to the line now. He goes P3. Tarkowski just in front of him moves into P7. So Tarkowski has a bit of pace tonight, PM.
Yeah, confidence buoyed by his podium. His brilliant little podium in race 1.
There's no improvement for Mike Matthews. Apologies. PN. Harris next to the line. One man I've not actually seen go across the line yet is Dan Davis, down in 5th place, a second off the pole time. A few drivers are sat in the garages. Series in there as well. Harris, no improvement on his P11. Here comes Clouden. Dan Davis actually just crossed the line, start another lap. Clouden goes P6. Next man to the line is car number 96. That then is Sam once again. And after Sam, it will be Sully. So Sully going for a few good laps in a row here.
He is. Well, the tracks probably get a little bit drier as you're doing the laps. With all the cars throwing all your water in the air.
Ian Gray in the chat. Has nobody told Sully it's still raining? Sully's doing Pro-Am dry pace in the dark and wet. There we go. I mean, we was hitting 53s last night. Sam moves up into P11. Some of us was
See what Taker does.
last night.
Does Taker?
Some of us
Taker
shouting at the
doesn't.
mic. Taker was on an invalid lap. He just left the pit. Sully to the line. Finds another couple of tenths, so he's really started to put the hammer down. Sky Schundelmeyer, he'll be next. What does he do? Goes up into P10. Bourchier. Is he going to improve on his lap? Is he going to put a lap on the board? He does. Goes P17. Simon Blair will be the next man. Before the car after that will be car 34. As Mike leaves the party and will go back into his own. It will be Harris, the next man set lap. Simon Blair, P16 then at the moment. So far, Overtaker's the man who's got the pole position.
Yeah, he needs the points back. He desperately needs the points back now. That is going to be a quite good, interesting race between him and Sully. Both in identical cars.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing these two fight. Obviously, we saw Overtaker fight with Nash, which was an interesting battle at the beginning of the season. Harris, then Dan Davis, the next man on the lap. Dan 1 second off the leaders of Overtaker at the moment.
Yeah, as Shaggy's not done a valid lap yet. Sherry's in the pits.
Dan now improves. He goes within 4 tenths. He's gone up to P3. And the next man on a valid lap is that of Overtaker. He's got Paolo just ahead of him, who's on an invalid lap. So work to do here for Overtaker.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
I say work to do. By that, the work he's got to do is extend that pole position gap.
Yeah, and Sully's in the pits at the moment. Probably got to put barely enough fuel to get round for one more lap.
Taker doesn't improve that time around. 227 is next. That is Graham. Everybody tipping Sully, then Dan Davis, then Overtaker in the chat. So them reckoning that Dan will out-qualify Overtaker and Sully will take pole. He took pole last time out, did Sully.
But we didn't have any Overtaker.
Graham to the line. Doesn't improve. Going to go down to Gary Leach. 1.6 off the back. He moves up to P7. Good lap from him. Now let's go down to the 69 of Simon Blair. Not yet put in a lap that we can know Simon Blair can do. Now moves inside the top 10. It is the 884 of Tarkowski, who's got some real good pace. He's got the bit between his teeth at the moment. Oh, he's not now. Oh, that's a big shunt into the pit wall. That'll possibly be his quali over.
Yeah, that'll be quali over.
I say that he's got time to get out of the pits. He'll get one flying lap in. Overtaker's just returned back to the pits.
No, Overtaker's still on the circuit.
Is he? Oh, sorry. Apologies. Yeah. Not sure. I thought I saw the number 14 at Ascari off, but no, you're right. Overtaker is coming towards Ascari now. Here comes Harris. Dan Davis behind on an invalid lap. Harris 1.7 off the pace, moves inside the top 10. Ramey Fernie the next car then on a lap. What can Ramey Fernie do? Nothing. Stays 18th. He's just not had great pace today, as Ramey.
Yeah, and he's Scottish, so he should be used to rang. He does it a lot up there. I know, I've been there.
Paolo, the next car on a lap. Overtaker is on an invalid one. Did Sully come back out?
Yes, Sully's now coming to the parabolica.
He is,
now.
yes. So Sully will set the lap time after the Overtaker. They'll get one shot. Paolo, any improvement on 12th? No. 227, that is Graham. He'll get one more run at this. Will he find any improvement on his position? Currently P5. Is Mike
and
out
the highest
there?
Ferrari. Is Mike
He is, yeah.
there?
He's coming towards Ascari. He is the highest Ferrari. Here comes Graham towards the line now. Goes P3. Splits down the 227. That is Bourchier who moves inside the top 7. Where's car 21? That is De Hoffner. Then it will be the much nut Simon Blair. De Hoffner moves up to 16th. Simon Blair's up to 7th, so the track's getting quicker. Alex Powell. What can he do as he comes to the line now? Doesn't improve. Is that then Dan Davis? No, it's not. There's somebody just in front of Sky Schundelmeyer. It's the 96. That is Sam, who's currently 15th. Stays 15th. Sky Schundelmeyer improves and stays 14th. Mike Matthews to the line. Goes P6 within a second. Naru's ahead of the 36. That is car 34.
That's Harris.
That is Harris. Then it is the 16 of Dan Davis. Graham and Alex Power done. Dan Davis gets one more chance at this. Does not improve. Ramy Fernie moves up to 15th place. But the first man to complete qualifying's had a huge moment. And he's in the wall. It's Overtaker.
Overtaker's invalidated.
Yeah, he's just been in the wall. Oh, and he returns to pits, yeah.
Just in front of Sully.
So he kept the car stationary and Sully was coming. And now then, Overtaker's made the mistake. Does this give the upper hand to Sully? He took pole at Silverstone for the feature race. He comes round the final corner. Is it going to be Sully for pole position? Here in Monza, in the night, in the wet. No, stays within 1.133.
He probably had a lift when he saw Overtaker's car in the middle of a track.
Now then, Simon Blair, 1.1 off the back. What can you do?
Dan is...
Overtaker, 2 pole positions this season. The very first one, Simon Blair's done. So next car, 96. That'll be Sam. The very first one at Donington Park, and then I believe the feature race at Nürburgring was Overtaker's pole positions this year. And then he's been second on 3 occasions and 23rd because of a qualifying ban. Mike is done. Sam is now done. Car 34 will be next. I've just noticed Shaggy didn't get a lap time in.
He's been out there trying.
So it is Harris, then Clouden. Harris pits. Clouden stays out. Can Clouden improve? Currently P7. Will he jump ahead of Mike? No, he does not. Can Dan take pole position? No, but he goes P3 onto the second row of the grid. So it is Overtaker, who takes his 3rd pole position of the season to put him tied with Or Nash on 3 poles. Sully, P2, though, solid qualifying from the young man.
Well, we assume he's young.
Well, yes, good point.
Well, most people are young compared to me. Considering there's a 4 in front of my age. Oh, this is going to be interesting between Overtaker and Sully.
Yeah.
If
Looking forward to see this race. Yep, the Console Cup, or whatever we called it last week.
For the new season.
Where's
For the new
Sam?
season.
16th.
The Hofner P17 and the gorgeous V12 Aston. Oh, look at it. Oh, what a car. What a beautiful sounding machine. I think we need to do a little mini series of pre-2015 cars. Because we've not seen the 650S McLaren on ACC.
30 seconds.
And you've got the 2015 there, Sam, the 2015 Bentley.
20 seconds.
Final checks. As Matt puts in the qualifying results.
10 seconds.
So yeah, Boucher up in P9, qualified P9 for this race.
Yeah,
That's not
Boucher
bad qualifying.
P9, Clouden up in P7th. He didn't seem to have the best start of the race. I've inputted the qualifying results, apologies there. And then you've got the prediction for the race. But it is Overtaker, your man on pole position. Now, we can give you some stats because we know that is Sully's 2nd race win. For Overtaker, that is his now 23rd pole position. He sits 6th in the all-time list of drivers for pole position. He's now 2 behind Gary Leach and Joe. And he's 3 behind Big Boy Brazier. So has a chance. You know, he's still got, 3 races left, 3 qualifyings left. can go tied with Jamie Brazier, or and go ahead of Gary and Joe in qualifying in terms of pole positions. Based on the podiums of race 1, again, Tarkowski's first podium, Sully's second podium, but for Mike Matthews, that is podium number 33. That puts him ahead of Andrew Taylor and Plava, Holty and Sky Schundelmeyer, and puts him one off the back of Ripper and Ramy Fernie.
We say good evening to Benny Varga. Oh, Nexus.
Nexus.
Yeah.
Go on, Benny Varga. Where's the PlayStation Nexus? I was expecting a PlayStation.
All Series S. Yeah, still joy.
Next season, hopefully. Next season, we get Nexus back on the grid. As well as for the McLaren now, then with overtakes pole position, that is hick pole positions for the McLaren. That goes then ahead of Audi. It is the third most pole positions for a manufacturer, behind now that of Mercedes and Lamborghini. It is only one behind Lamborghini, being tied with that. In terms of race wins, the McLaren's race win in race 1 was its 62nd race win. And who got podiums? Audi's got its 176th podium, McLaren's got its 189th, and Ferrari's got its 72nd. We are approaching a milestone for a manufacturer in terms of race starts. That is the BMW. Oh, and McLaren is now the second most used car here at SimPlay Motorsport. So you think long ago, back to the Project Cars 2 days, everybody used Mercedes and Lamborghinis and Porsches. It now goes Mercedes, McLaren. And you know what? Ferrari isn't a million miles away from Lamborghini.
Yeah.
And BMW next week. So what we got? We got Harris out there tonight. That'll put it on to 488. I imagine next week, if we have all BMWs out there, we'll be close. It will get its 500th this season. That is for sure. Which is then the next milestone in terms of other milestones for cars. I don't think there's going to be any really. Honda needs 3 wins to get to 25, but Cranky Duckhead, the only Honda. BMW needs 4 pole positions. There's only 6 qualifying left, so doable. But BMW's had 1 pole position to McLaren's 11, Lamborghini's 4. Ferrari, surprisingly, Pien, not been on pole this season. Neither's Porsche.
No, but Ferrari's race cars. As Benny says, budget went on his old Audi.
Oh, dear.
Then again, if it was a proper Quattro from the 80s, I'll get that.
So, it's 2 wins for Sully against Overtaker's 28 here at SimPlay Motorsport. Against Dan Davis's 76. The man who has the most pole positions. Who's your money on, Pian?
Oh, it's not be close, but I reckon it's not. Who should I put the curse on? Overtaker. We haven't been able to.
If you're going Overtaker, then do you know what? I'm going to go Dan. I think Dan might sneak through. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to go Taker because he's got a bit between his teeth after that.
Missed last week. Not the best Alton Park. Bad race 1. He's due a good result.
He is due a very good result, and Imola was a bit.
Imola wasn't his best, yeah. We hope to speak to him, but it is green and go for round 14 of the season. It's a blamingly good start from Overtaker there. Don't know what word I've just said, but it's a good start from Overtaker there. He's already got himself comfortably ahead of Dan and Sully as they're all heading towards the first braking zone. Sully now comes back at him, late on the brakes, round the outside. Sully goes, and Sully gets the move done!
Yep. Sully round the outside. That was very De Silva-esque.
It was indeed. Gary 131, by the way, has had to miss the chicane, so we'll have to give a load of places back. But it is Sully who leads this race from Overtaker, from Dan Davis. And now Dan Davis getting a bit closer to the back of Overtaker as he looked a little understeery coming through the Curva Grande. Dan has a little look, now tucks back in behind Overtaker. And Overtaker's got some work to do here because Sully's now in the lead of this race and he's coming under pressure from Dan. But the thing that Mike doesn't need is Dan on the podium. Mike spun around. Mike's been tapped around in the background.
Yeah. Oh, just closely just drove into him. Well, it was a bit strange. When Mike was stationary on the curb. And there's Sky around and Sherry is trying to avoid it all.
So we'll go to this when the timing screens update, but at the minute it is Sully from Overtaker, from Dan Davis. Then it is Graham as they'll come towards the Sector 2 timing screen now. After Graham, it is then Alex Powell. Then it is Gary Leach. Then it is Jamal Cloud and Simon Blair. Harris is up to 9th on his second race. Bourche's 10th. Then it's Jay Ward, Sam, Borough, Bex, De Hoffner, Tarkowski, Paolo, Shaggy with Ramy Fernie bouncing over the sausage curb. Then it is Mike Matthews. Then it is Sherry, P. Williams, Sky Shundlemeyer, who is at the back of the pack. Tibbs looks like he's got big damage on that car already. But already the front three started to pull away. And look at this, would you look? Dan Davis just slightly dropped from Overtaker. Overtaker looks a little closer to Sully than what he did a few moments ago.
Also BBM slipstream effect as well. Overtaker's car gets sucked by the identical McLaren. Well, in game. We don't know what setups they're running or pressures as into the first chicane.
Dan got scariously close to the back of Overtaker there, just coming down the order a little bit to Hoffner, trying to gain on the back of Borobex as well as defending from Tarkowski. What Mike didn't want was Dan getting up the road.
And
well, now Mike's 19th.
He's now 19th. Well, Smokey's made a few mistakes ahead of him tonight, so soon probably catch on to Smokey.
Yeah, Smokey looks like he's got a bit of damage. Just Ramy Fernie to the front end of that car. Dan Davis is now side by side with Overtaker. No, not quite. Thought about having a look, but doesn't there. Tucks back in, does Dan Davis. So a good little fight here. And again, we said about Dan and Gary Leach in race 1, two old rivals going at it. Well, how many times have these two battled on the circuit?
Yeah, quite a lot. Back in Project Cars 2 days.
And now Dan's going at it again with Overtaker once more coming down the hill towards the Ascari chicane. This is allowing Sully to just pull away a little bit. And Dan looking to the outside of Overtaker. Overtaker does a good job of keeping it in the middle of the road there. Dan not really anywhere to go. Oh, look at that. If he can't return this season, he'll go with the Jag. Overtaker a little wide. Did he just drop a wheel in the gravel? Not sure. Dan, not the best exit out of Ascari, though. Overtaker's managed to pull a bit of a gap. We drop down to Alex Powell, who's looking on the back of Graham. That's within 6/10. Simon Blair is within 3/10 of Jamal Clouden. Jay Ward as well, as the cameraman will hopefully start to pick him up. He's gaining on Bourchet. Sky Shundlemeyer still in the pit lane.
Yeah. Paolo and Tarkowski.
Yeah, Paolo and Tarkowski. And then that is De Hoffner who is now ahead of Borobex. So De Hoffner's now ahead of him.
De Hoffner making that under acceleration from the parabolic over the start finish line. Oh, that D12 is such a beautiful car. Dan with the fastest lap of the race.
Yeah, Dan has done the fastest lap of the race. He's side by side out the first chicane. They're going around the curve of Grande. Dan's going to be on the outside line. He's hit front bumper to rear bumper. It's not quite wheel to wheel yet for Dan and Overtaker. Now Dan gets it quite alongside Overtaker. No, he's not. He's lost a bit of momentum. Later on the brake, so into the second chicane. Overtaker brakes even later, and he's outbraked himself, trying to defend from Dan. And Dan didn't get the best of runs through the corner there, but Overtaker makes up a lot of time, and Dan's now fell into the clutches of Graham.
Yeah, Taker's gained a hell of a lot of time with that, cutting that chicane.
Yeah, that'll be a probably in-game warning that they manually give out. Just to say, Mike's within a second of Ramy Fernie, who's getting past Shaggy. And Mike getting up the inside of Tarkowski. No, thinks better of it at the first Lesmos. And to Harris now. Oh, who's that off? That looks like Bourchet was off. And indeed he was. He's now got Sam coming after him with De Hoffner. Borobex. De Hoffner pulling away from Borobex. And look at this gaggle of cars. Tarkowski, Ramy Fernie's got ahead of Shaggy. And Mike Matthews in there as well as P. Williams, Sherry and Sky Shundlemeyer a lap down already.
Sully's off. Sully's off the road.
Yeah, Sully has been off the road because Overtaker leads the race from Dan Davis. So where is Sully? As he had a moment at Ascari, he's down by Gary Leach in 5th place. So Sully, again in the feature race, it's all gone horribly wrong.
Yeah.
Sky Shundlemeyer's back in, and Sully's coming straight in. So Overtaker leads from Dan Davis. Graham is P3. With Alex Powell 4th, so that is even worse for Mike now, although Mike should get ahead of Sully. Then it's Gary Leach, Jamal Clouden, Simon Blair looking close to the back of Clouden here. Dan still with the fastest lap of the race.
Yep. Harris is... There's no sort of battle between Clouden and Blair and Harris.
Harris has had a good first outing.
Yeah. Baptism of fire coming to a wet monster, isn't it? Really first race.
To Sammy's 0.3 of a second. Just going back to Mike Matthews, he's still he's 18th. He can't clear Shaggy. Tarkowski, where's Tarkowski gone? He's dropped to 21st. We've lost a driver. We've lost Sky Schundelmeyer. So he's retired.
Retirement. Yeah, that's another retirement. And
I believe that is his second one. Yeah, I believe it is.
So Max,
Max Mulder's just cheering for Sky in the chat. Well, Sky's just retired from this race, so that as well is going to give even bigger advantage to the BTC Jaeger Racing, because whatever Dan outscores Gary by, he's then got Mike's points on top of that. Simon Blair 4 tenths to the back of Clouden. Here is Clouden. Oh, hop, skip and a jump over the Ascari chicane.
Yep. So yeah, that's his second retirement. I'll just check. Once I figure out whose number is.
Don't forget, 3 retirements. That leads to a 25-point deduction.
Oh, Alex having a look at Graham through Parabolica.
He's having a look. He's not close enough yet. Dan's gap's gone up 2 tenths to Overtake, so Overtake's still pulling away out front.
Yeah, there's Cloud and Blair and Harris all together still. Jay Ward is 2 seconds.
Yeah, look at this little fight here. We've got Ramey Fernie, Paolo. Shaggy's going side by side with Paolo in a minute. Mike Matthews is there as well.
Yeah, as Smokey seems to sort out what he had wrong earlier now, hasn't he?
He seems to have. But look, Mike Matthews just can't get past anybody. Sparkling, that'll be for a ticket to be raised. I won't repeat that comment live on there, but that would be for a ticket to be raised and obviously looked at by the stewards team. Harris is within 3 tenths. We'll come back to Mike. Mike is making no progress though here, PM, through the field.
No. Well, it's hard to see, isn't it, with all the spray. The best thing Mike can do is, once the pit window opens, pit straight away to try and jump them.
He's got 6 minutes. The weather conditions look like they're staying the same, unlike Pro-Am last night where it seemed to dry a little bit. Conditions staying the same. Just looking at Dan to overtake. That's come down 3 tenths since the last time I mentioned. That's now down to 1.9 seconds. And Alex Power within half a second of Graham. Harris has just lost a bit of time to Simon Blair this lap. The only BMW out there. Now we've got De Hoffner, who's got ahead of Sam at some point, and Sam's back within 2 tenths of him. De Hoffner, good night. Good night.
Good night. Contender for driver of the day, I reckon, in that V12. The oldest car. Unless Benny ever came back in his Jag. And someone ran the rear. But it is a really good night for De Hoffner. But then again, though, horsepower and the Aston V12.
Exactly. Well, here comes Mike Matthews now having a look on Paolo up the inside in towards the Parabolica. Mike's pulled out. Wonder how much damage he's got to his car because he's just not making the progress through the field you'd expect Mike to make. But up the inside of Paolo goes Mike Matthews through the Parabolica. So he's up to 16th place now, so it's a couple more points he can take off of Dan. But Dan looks comfortable to extend that championship lead, you'd imagine, at the moment.
Yeah.
In this race.
But Dan will want to win. Dan will want to win here to get the maximum.
How many races has Dan won this season? He's won 2. So
2.
Not as many wins as he'd have liked.
Dan would want that win. Whatever action we got. Paolo and Mike's still quite close to Shaggy.
Hoffner has dropped Sam, by the way. That's now 9 tenths of a second, and he's only 2.9 off of Bourchier from being in the top 10. Alex Powell. Dan's got the gap down to 1.4 seconds now to overtake it. And Alex Powell is now within 3 tenths, just under 4 tenths to Graham. Who's at Graham again? Another solid drive for Graham.
Yeah.
As we say good evening. Sorry, PM. We say good evening to an old face. Ariel Palowski in the chat. Don Productions from back in the Project Cars 2 days. Good evening to Ariel in the chat. Sorry, PM.
I wouldn't know who that was because that was probably before me or as I came in the Clios. Yeah, Alex has had a strong night considering his wheel might be still stuck at 60% force feedback.
He's had a very good night. Simon Blair can't get any closer to Clouden. In fact, Harris has gained on him. They've got Jay Ward catching them two as well. So Harris found his feet in race 1 and he's finding his feet even more in this second race. Got good pace in his BMW.
Yeah, and he's right in the slipstream of the Ferrari now as they head towards the first chicane.
Well, Harris looks to the outside line. Yeah, Simon Blair's forced him to the outside. He's committed to that inside line and he's gone later on the brakes, does Harris. And he's through. Good move from the BMW driver. Great move from the debutant.
Yeah, and buried the silver again around the outside of Fury.
Lovely done. Dan's gap's been opened back up, so Overtaker's increased his gap to Dan, 1.7. As I say that, then through the first sector, it's back down to 1.3. Going further down the order once again, Shaggy has got Mike Matthews crawling all over the back of him at the moment. And Mike just has got no pace to come through here.
He's got to have front aero damage, haven't he? To starting to affect the car.
Something's wrong with that car. 2.5 minutes until the pit window opens then. And Mike Matthews looking all over the back of the Audi driver. Now is he going to look up the inside? No, gets it stopped and turned in. Oh, he's got, I tell you what, that's a good undercut there. No, he didn't get the power down. No, couldn't get the power down and done. So Mike stays behind once again at the moment. Sully, though, 21st. That is a bit of a way behind the rest of the pack. But if one man in clear air can come through, you imagine it's this man.
Yeah, I don't know. He's on the lead lap, though.
Yeah, he's on the lead lap.
Anymore.
Yeah, he's on the lead lap because he's coming through the sector time now. Bang, 24 seconds behind. Lead lap.
That's a long way to come back.
Yes.
Dan's got the fastest lap again.
He's not lost it.
It's still a long, long way.
There's still half an hour left. You know, he's in clear air. What times can he pump in? Overtaker lost attempt to Dan in that final sector. Alex Pow now, still within 7/10 as they all come across the line. Timings start to update. Simon Blair trying to stick with Harris.
Yeah, into the first chicane.
Hoffner's lost time to Bourchier. That gap was 2 point something. It's now 4.2.
But 3.3 in front of Sam.
Yeah.
Who's in the newer Aston Martin.
Mike Matthews now gets close in the slipstream. Thinks about pulling out. Can't do so. He's just losing straight line speed when he's out of the slipstream is Mike. And Ramy Fernie catching onto the back of Borough Becks. But that's Shaggy who's gone straight on at turn 1.
Yeah. Straight on and...
Yeah, rejoins at the closest point of entry. Good evening to Fury's granddad in the chat. Jeffrey, I believe his name is.
Jeffrey.
And Mike Matthews then moves up to P15, so he's ahead of Shaggy. Shaggy was actually stationary as he collected Paul Williams there. These two are both slow. I wonder if Shaggy's had a moment with Paul Williams rejoining. Sully's taken the fastest lap of the race and is now not a million miles away from the back of them two, so it's more points for Sully in this championship.
It is, and Dan's within a second of Overtaker.
Dan is within a second. That gap's down to 8/10. Well spotted there. The pit window is open, so I wonder, will Overtaker think about pulling it straight into the pits? The problem is, where he'd probably come out is at the back of that gaggle of cars.
Yeah, and being in traffic.
I think Overtaker is a clever driver. He'll keep going and going, and yet him and Dan both keep going here.
Graham keeps going.
Dan's got the gap down another 2/10.
Alex is in front of Graham.
Alex is in front of Graham. Where is Graham? Gary Leach in. Clouden in. Harris stays out. Simon Blair in. Ward stays out. Bourchier is round at Parabolica.
No.
Bourchier is around and cannot get going. And Mike Matthews gains another place. Bourchier now tries to flick it round. Bounces off the wall. And he's just got to wait. Sam stayed out. Ramy, Mike Matthews stayed out. That surprises me.
That does surprise me.
Borough Becks in. Seri stays out. Tarkowski in. What about Williams and Shaggy and Sully? Bourchier gets going now. Paul Williams coming in. Oh, Shaggy! That looked a little hot. Will Sully, in and out, stop, done, try and jump people?
Yeah, I would, because it's
He
early
does.
enough still in the race.
Doesn't. Thought he was going to come in there, but he didn't. Dan Davis still within 6/10 of overtaker.
Williams is in, Boucher's in, Shaggy's in, wasn't me?
Dan Davis within 6/10 of overtaker. Alex is within 1.1 of Dan. And Graham's only 1.9 behind Alex.
Has overtaker's tyres ballooned a little bit?
I don't know, he's just pulled 3/10 out on Dan, so I'm not sure. A lot of drivers done. Gary, Simon, Clouden, De Hoffner, Borough Becks, Tarkowski, Shaggy done. Williams and Bourchier still in the pits. Sully's jumped straight up to 15th place, look. And he's 8 seconds behind Clouden, so that shows you where he is. Did Overtaker just have a little moment through Parabolica there? I'm not too sure. Just I was looking at the names on the list. Well, the top 3 stay out.
I've just noticed the commitment cone's been knocked into the middle of the circuit on the screen, and it's lit up as well, so it's like a light in the middle of the start-finish straight.
Harris stays out. Jay Ward's going to come straight in. What about Sam, who's got Ramey Fernie 5 seconds behind him? Mike's right up the rear wing of Ramey Fernie then. Going to try and tuck underneath here at Parabolica is Mike. And Ramey Fernie on the AstroTurf. That's not where you want to be. And Mike boxes.
Get it stopped, Mike. Oh, that was quick in.
Series in.
And Series in behind him.
So Gary Leach will continue on his way, as will Simon Blair, as will Clouden. Simon jumped Clouden, I do believe, in the pits. And Sully, who's only 8.2 off the back of these guys, as Dan's within 1/10 of Overtaker. So what is going wrong for Overtaker at the minute? The problem is Dan's taking Alex with him. Dan a little wide out the first Lesmo, kept it on the grass a little bit. So has Overtaker just lost a bit of pace, or is Dan just caught onto the back? But now Alex Powell's with them, PN, as well.
So when now Alex has been released from being stuck in the dirty air with Graham, the Aston can shift.
The Aston can shift, and shifting it is. Where's De Hoffner?
De Hoffner's pitted.
Yeah, he's pitted.
16th.
I wonder where we see Sully jump up to, because he didn't pit. And I wonder where we see all the other guys come out. So Sully jumps up to 12th. And is 7 seconds off the back of Clouden. So he's just going to go, I reckon, as long as he can. He's going to do it the other way around. Go as long as he can, create as big a gap as he can, then pit. Dan's lost a lot of time. Obviously, that was through the second Lesmo. Overtaker. Oh, sells the dummy.
Thought about pitting.
Yeah, well, good job he didn't cross that pit entry line. So it's Overtaker from Dan, Alex Powell. Then it is Graham. All stay out. Harris stays out. Clouden on the back of Simon Blair. Jay Ward on the back of Sherry. No, that's a little bit side by side here. Oh, Jay Ward's wide through the first Lesmo. Here comes Sherry. Up the inside on the exit to the first Lesmo. He's through. He's up to P16. Mike Matthews ahead of this. And if he repaired his damage, he's only 5 seconds off the back of Borough Becks. De Hoffner 12 seconds behind Sully. And nobody pitted here.
Well, Sully's now coming around Parabolica. So does he peel into the pits? Oh, that's a very loose McLaren at the back of that.
No, stays out. Down within 7/10 of Overtaker. Just drop back down to Jay Ward and Siri. They're still fighting out. Jay Ward's actually got back ahead of Siri here. So a great scrap down the order. Siri looking to tuck underneath out of Jay Ward.
He's got the drive. It looks like he's got the drive in the Lambo.
Well, let's see down the start straight then. Lamborghini versus Ferrari. The Evo 2 versus the 296.
The 296 is past in a straight line. Look at it. It's cool.
I mean, that might be down to setup as well. But yeah, Jay Ward stays ahead. So with his Overtaker from Dan, from Alex Powell, the question is, do any of the top 8 pit? 9 minutes left of the pit window, so still a lot of pit window to come.
There is. Does take a pit this time?
No, but
he stays out. Dan thought about it.
Yeah, I thought Dan was going to sell the dummy there.
Alex stays out as well, as does Graham. There's Harris coming. He does not. Sam's not ran Parabolica yet to see if he's done a pit.
Simon Blair's pulled 2 seconds clear of Clouden, so that is that one over. He's 2.5 behind Gary Leach himself. Sam stays out.
Thought about it. He angled towards
Yeah, I
pit
think
lane,
so.
but
Ramy Fernie stays out as well. Paolo stays out. So it is just now Sully. He's going to pull some points back. He'll be better than race 2 last week for him, but he's going to pull some points back here.
yeah, well, race 2, it was quite late in the race when it happened. It was off the 13 seconds off the back of him, but that needs well really against McLaren. Not a fair contest, as I say, BOP with the cars again.
Dan's back within 4/10 of overtaker. Alex this time hasn't come with Dan. And that is a car in front. That is car 45. That is Shaggy, who is nearly a lap down to the leaders. Leaders obviously yet to pit. But Dan coming back at overtaker here. Overtaker looked a little wiggly through a Ascari chicane there. The fans' vote went tied for Sully and overtaker to win this race. We're going to end the poll there, seeing as we're halfway through it. And Dan looked like he got a better run than overtaker out of Ascari. Pulls out to have a look at Parabolica. He's not going to do it this time though.
Nope.
Overtaker keeps it very tight. Now Dan stays tighter. They both drift out wide. Are these two going to pit? No, Overtaker, I don't know if that's going to defend or selling the dummy. I think it's going to defend. He's keeping that inside line covered. He's staying in a straight line, which has allowed Dan to pull to the outside. And we've seen Dan already at one chicane later on the brakes. That was earlier in the race. Will he be later on the brakes now? Overtaker comes back across, which he's well allowed to do. Squeezes Dan. And Overtaker now has to cut the chicane again.
And he's got to yield that. If not, he would have gained a lot of time. No. He's got to yield that, I'm sorry, but he's cut
So
that.
Twice Dan has put Overtaker under pressure, and Overtaker's had to take to the escape road at the chicane, and now Dan is coming under pressure from Alex Powell, right over the rear wing through the Curva Grande, now to the Roger chicane.
Yeah. Dan hop at the curb.
And Alex Powell looking quick. Graham in and out the pits. Where is he? He's going to tumble down the order a little bit. So I didn't even see Graham was the only call this lap to pit. And Dan now under pressure from Alex Powell in this one. But that is twice Overtaker's gone across the chicane.
And gained time. He's gained time.
A little more so on that occasion, yes.
Yeah, I reckon Dan will put that in. I won't be surprised.
Sully still with the fastest lap of the race.
He's probably pumping him in, isn't he? But we can't see what he's doing lap time wise. Is he?
I think you can press timetable and press on him.
Alex was a bit wide out of Ascari.
He was a little wide out of Ascari, which is going to give Dan some breathing space. This is the closest fight on track at the moment. So yeah, interesting to see. But Overtaker now over a second clear of Alex Powell. Who's going to blink first, though, out of these top three? Dan blinks first.
Dan's in.
Yeah. So Dan blinks first. Harris stays out.
And it's now nearly 20 seconds from Harris to Sam.
Good race from Harris, though. I know others have got, others are going to come back in the pit stops, like Graham and Gary and Simon Blair. But it's been a good race from Harris. Yeah, he's kept it nice. He made a good move around the outside on Simon Blair. Sam stays out. Ramy Fernie, he's gone long. Dan Davis is done, and Dan Davis comes off the limiter. So Sam just goes past Dan. Dan is off his limiter now. Where is Ramy Fernie? Ramy Fernie will get Dan. Paolo is in the pits.
Paolo's in. We've got 4 minutes of the window left.
So now Alex has been released from Dan. Can Alex put Overtaker under pressure? And Sully stays out. As Overtaker now getting onto the back of Shaggy. That will be to lap Shaggy down in 19th place. I'm going to be interested to see where Sully comes out. Was last by a country mile. And at the minute, the gap to him and De Hoffner is 17 seconds. So they're 19 to Burabeks.
So,
23 to Mike. I reckon he could come out just behind Mike, to be fair. In between Mike and Jay Ward, possibly.
especially if he just does a drop and stop, a stop and drop, and go.
Completely agreed. Here comes Overtaker then. Not gaining on the back of Shaggy as quick as he'd probably like, but saying that, he's got to pit either this lap or the next lap. Yeah, potentially could get maybe 2 after this. Overtaker's going to react to Dan and come in. Alex Powell also into the pits, and now the drivers starting to think of pitting here. And Dan Davis within 6/10 of Ramey Fernie is now going to be charging. Harris also comes in. Will Ramey pit? Dan is getting so close to the back of Ramey Fernie. He's flying at the moment. What does Sam do? Sam's not even at Ascari yet. At Parabolica, sorry. Dan's now got to wait behind Ramey Fernie unless he can get past him. Overtaker's now away. And Dan's now to the outside of Ramey Fernie. Is this Ramey Fernie going to come into the pits? It is. Here comes Dan. Here comes Overtaker. Overtaker is off his limiter now. And has Dan just done enough? Has Dan got the undercut? Well, there's Overtaker. Who'll be coming up to speed. And Dan going to go around the outside. Yes, he does. He gets it done. And now Dan doesn't need to do it at the chicane. It's now Overtaker who's got to put the pressure on him. Both of them, though. Good pit stop from Overtaker and a good outlap from Dan. They've cleared Alex Power country mile.
Yeah, and Blair's cleared. Just cleared Harris. Oh, that's close to the first chicane.
Yeah, look at this. Harris, Clouden and Simon Blair with Graham just ahead. No, with Gary Leach just ahead. Where does Sully come out? Where's Mike Matthews a second? There's Mike. I believe that's Sully still exiting the pits. Yeah, there goes Jay Ward. There goes Siri. She's a little further back than I thought, but still. Good stuff. Oh, Clouden over the second chicane. Sorry, Pian.
It's Tarkowski. He's gained what would have been about 30 seconds.
Yeah. He's gained a lot of time. Sully gained a lot of time. It puts Mike up to 14th place. Mike's still got a lot of work to do in this race to get last couple of places. De Hoffner back into the top 10, and there you see Gary Leach, Simon Blair, M. Harris, and Clouden.
Sam needs to pit now.
Well, he's coming up to Parabolica. If he doesn't pit this lap, that is going to be the end of that. Sully, did Sully get ahead of Ramey Fernie?
Yes.
There we go then. And he's only 4/10 off the back of Tarkowski. So Sully, all of a sudden, looking at 16th place from what was 21st a moment ago. He's gone long. And it'll hopefully work for him. Overtaker's within 9/10 of Dan. Sam is in the pits.
Overtaker's disappeared.
Overtaker has disappeared. He's behind Graham.
He's gone off. He's got damage.
Has he got damage to the front of his car there?
Yes, he has.
Oh, that's wiggling on the straight a little bit. Is that him wiggling to feel the damage? You see the bonnet slightly lifted. Oh, big moment again. Yeah, it doesn't want to stop across the chicane.
That's a big cut.
That's doing some strange things on the front of that car.
And the damage when you're a pad user.
There's something not right with that. Look at how twitchy that car is.
Because Dan's got quite a comfortable 6-second lead.
He has got a quite comfortable 6-second lead all of a sudden. Sam's out the pits. Oh, you just see him very slidey as Overtaker there.
I wonder if he's put slicks on. But it wasn't long enough for...
No, his pit stop was too quick for slicks, because otherwise he'd have came out way behind Graham and he'd have been jumped by Alex in the pit lane.
But that's not a happy car.
That is not a happy car now.
I think that time it's because of his damage. That car's not tracking right.
Well, De Hoffner's P10. He's got Paolo gaining on the back of him. Burabeks! Oh, he's gone round! All on his own in the second chicane. We've just seen De Hoffner now cut the chicane. And I wonder if he's gained a bit more than the 9/10 of a second. But now Mike's all of a sudden gaining on the back of Paolo and De Hoffner. This for P10 as Burabeks has just lost it all on his own.
Yeah, and how quick is Gary going to catch Overtaker? That is a big question.
Well, now that Dan
Overtaker's-
leads this race, that's 55 points for Dan. And at Mike at the moment is only P13. That's only 18 points. So Dan is going to score nearly 40 points over Mike.
3 seconds.
Sully's
3.6
got ahead of
seconds.
Tarkowski. So Gary catching Overtaker. Overtaker stayed out.
Well, you've got no choice really, have you?
Oh,
You've got to stay out.
No, Alex didn't cut the first chicane. Who's in front of... Who was the 2-2? I'm sure I saw a car there cutting the first chicane.
Harris has gone round.
Whoa, Harris has gone round behind Simon Blake. Luckily off. And that will allow Clouden to get through. Sam's nowhere near at the moment. Then it's De Hoffner, Paolo. Mike gaining on Paolo now. And Sully's not far back off the back of Siri, who's not far off the back of Borough Bex.
Sully's still with a fast lap. Probably banger after banger.
It probably was. Dan's probably not going to be bothered about a point. It's obviously Mike now needs to consolidate the amount of points that Dan Davies pulls away.
Mike needs to get ahead of Paolo and
Possibly De Hoffner, yeah. De Hoffner's gap to Sam is 9 seconds. So I don't think he's going to catch that. Gary's now 1.9 off the back of Overtaker. Could Overtaker come into play here, depending on his damage and depending what happens. Gary's within a second nearly now. As you go on board with Gary Leach. You just heard, did you hear the McLaren in front of Gary there? So gentle on the power, coming through Ascari, and look at him in a straight line. That is all over the place.
Gary's going to have him into Parabolica.
He's bent something on the front of that McLaren, I think Overtaker has.
Yeah, probably went off and proved a couple of laps ago there at Ascari, but because we were watching.
Overtaker's wide through Parabolica. I think he's let Gary go. And there goes Gary. So moves up to P4 now, does Gary Leach. Simon Blair already within 1.6.
And they're not far away, and there's Clouden as well.
Back down to Paolo and Mike Matthews now then. So Mike trying to look on the back down to Siri, who's 3/10 off the back of Borough Beck. Sully's coming with him. He's within a second as well. So a great fight down the order. Siri up in 15th place. Here's Paolo. And Mike side by side with Paolo. He's got that inside line for the chicane at turn 1 as well.
Who's got the more ponies? Or straight line speed anyway for wing angle. The Ferrari or the McLaren?
The McLaren looks like the Ferrari looks like it's pulled ahead. Late on the brakes. Mike Matthews up to P11. So now for P11, Mike will be scoring 20 points. We'll only lose 35 to Dan. Still a lot of points, but he's now only about 1.7 off the back of De Hoffner. So we'll want to close in that gap as quick as he can. Siri has got Tarkowski and Sully coming at him first and second in race 1, or 16th and 17th in race 2. And now Borough Bex is coming under pressure from the fastest man on the circuit at the moment, Sully with the fastest lap, and Siri. And Simon Blair within 1.2 of Overtaker.
He is.
Oh, Siri's round!
Oh, all on his own.
No, I don't think so.
No.
Sully was slow.
Sully's not moving either. Sully's stationary.
Yeah, Sully, I think, has tapped Siri there.
And he's waiting for him.
And is waiting for him.
He is waiting for him, and now he's moving. There's the flash. Probably say sorry.
Oh, Overtaker pretty sideways through Parabolica there on entry. And Simon Blair is now just going to absolutely mug him off down the straight. That McLaren, Overtaker's not pitting. He's getting this to the end. He doesn't care where he finishes. This is coming home.
Yeah. As Blair looks down the inside into the first chicane. Oh, look at that McLaren under braking.
Yeah, it's just so twitchy. Doesn't want to stop. It's as twitchy as ever. Simon Blair through. Next up is Clouden. And then Harris is only 5.9 behind Clouden. So he'll be on Overtaker within no time. The bonus for Overtaker is Sam is 9 seconds behind. So he's got to go at more than a second a lap here.
Mike's already within a second of De Hoffner.
Oh, Oh, just every time that pink McLaren of overtakers hits the brakes,
Oh,
it is so
that's just
squirrely.
chicane.
Clouden missed the chicane. So we drop back to Mike and De Hoffner. It's a decent comeback drive from Mike. I've seen him do better.
He might not like you for saying that.
I think he'll take it as an honest opinion. I've seen him do better comeback drives. This isn't his best.
Probably because you can't see when you try to overtake anybody.
Clouden now right on the rear wing of Overtaker, but just can't get through. This is a narrow part of the circuit, probably the narrowest part of the circuit. And Clouden at the minute thinks better of it. This is going to bring Harris back into play. Look, gap down to 4.9. Now Clouden gets a great run through Ascari. It's not quite side by side. Jay Ward is getting close to the back of Paolo. Siri's now been overtaken by Sully. So Jay Ward on the back of Paolo. Mike's trying to get onto the back of De Hoffner. And Clouden still not past Overtaker yet.
No, Mike's not past De Hoffner. Because now that V12 screams into life from the
Right.
V8
Now
behind
Clouden
it.
will surely get up the inside at turn 1. Here he comes. Look at the closing speed. Clouden to Overtaker. The difference in speed there. That McLaren is wounded. Badly wounded.
Very wounded. I won't be surprised if he's got engine damage.
Harris, 4.2 seconds. What can he do now? Mike trying to get ahead of De Hoffner down in towards turn 1. Mike to get inside the top 10. It'll be a few more points as well. That'll put Mike only 33 points. He's lost out to Dan, not the 35 that he's currently losing out. He's going to be on the outside of turn 1 though. Can he go right around the outside? He tries to. De Hoffner squeezes him. Oh, Mike taps him. And Mike goes through, flashes the lights.
Did De Hoffner lose it though on the curb?
Did De Hoffner lose
Slightly.
it? The other thing is, how far alongside was Mike?
Yeah. Rather find out if it goes in.
Jay Ward
Jay
half a
Ward?
second off the back of Paolo. Yeah, just about to say that. And these two right there for Mike and De Hoffner. Mike 8.9 to Sam. I think Overtaker is probably going to stay ahead of Sam. I don't think he's going to stay ahead of Harris. I think Harris may get Overtaker. Overtaker could come away with an 8th place, which with the car wobbling as much as that, good job.
I've MOT'd worse. I really have been. Car held together by gaffer tape and cable ties. That's motorsport in general, actually. Unlucky for De Hoffner there, really.
Yeah.
As Harris 2.5 seconds behind Taker.
Yeah, we'll see what happens as they cross the line. So Sam is just coming into Parabolica now. 8.7 the gap. Mike Matthews to Sam. Oh, he's got to go some. He's got to go some. As Mike
About 3
J. Ward's
seconds
not
a lap
made up
quicker.
any time. Harris to Overtaker, still 2.5 seconds. Not really many fights on the track, so a running order at the moment is Dan Davis, who leads from Alex Powell. Graham is P3 with Gary Leach P4. Simon Blair P5, Jamal Clouden P6. Overtaker is 7th, but really walking wounded. Then it is Harris, Sam, Mike Matthews, De Hoffner, Paolo, Ward, Burra, Bex, Tikowski, Fernie, Sully, who is right on the back of Fernie at the moment. So it was 4.2. I reckon Ramy Fernie's had a moment here as well.
Yeah. Hopefully he hadn't caught Leon's flu.
They don't actually live in the same building, so Smokey tells us. I think
Oh,
Leon lives
it's
with his
probably
mother.
That's probably why he said. So that disproves Welsh's theory even further.
Welsh's theory, yeah. Shaggy P. Williams, Borshare rounding out the top 21. We have lost Tibbs from this race. Paolo takes to the chicane now. A few late break-ins from McLaren's here.
Yeah, but late breakings or desperations to try to stay ahead.
Well, he was arguably attacking De Hoffner and outbraked himself. We're into the final 4 minutes. Dan Davis starts another lap now. Lap number 20 for Dan. At 21 he starts. What a good night's worth of racing.
Yeah, kind of clean, what we've seen so far. I'm sure we'll find
De
out
Hoffner and
otherwise.
Paolo side by side at the moment. In towards Ascari, who stays in front.
Paolo's missed the chicane because the Hoffner's car was right there.
Yeah, and now Jay Ward's going to attack him on the exit. Oh, they bumped! Paolo's off. Where's Ward? Still
Ward
going.
is still going. So, yeah, De Hoffner lives on to fight another day. Can he be in the vote for driver of the day, De Hoffner, in that Aston? I think that's a worthy driver of the day as well. Alex, very quiet race now in P2, 7 seconds off the back of Dan, 5 in front of Graham. Harris is on overtaker as they come into the Roger chicane.
Yeah, we're watching Sully up the inside of Raimi Fernie. Keep your eye on Harris then, PN, and tell us if he gets past overtaker. But Sully here, through he goes. Job done.
Taker's car's not happy.
Oh, it's not finished yet, actually. Raimi Fernie still there. Back up the inside on the exit of the first chicane. Now through the Curva Grande, still side by side. And no, Raimi Fernie gets the job back done. Jump to Harris a second.
Harris is still behind Taker.
Yeah. Taker's done well.
Jeez,
You know, to
driving
keep
around the
one,
problem,
to
isn't
keep
he?
it on the track. 2, you know, to not lose it anymore.
3,
And 3, to
Quit.
not lose as many places.
he's still scoring points. Right,
Exactly.
finishing.
Tarkowski's on the back of Burabex, who's on the back of Paolo. Jay Ward has gone up the road. Sully still on that rear wing of Smoky Devil. Raimi Fernie, Harris. Overtake. Look how wide he is through Parabolica there, just because he probably can't turn the car in.
More than likely, because he's a fellow pad user to me, and I don't think there's many of us pad users left, actually.
Sully now looking up the inside
okay.
into Ascari. He's got ahead of Raimi Fernie. He's got past Raimi Fernie, so a good move there for Sully, who made the mistake on his own, we do believe, in this race.
Yeah. As
I tell you what, Overtaker's still ahead here of
he's
Harris.
still ahead, but he's going wide through.
He's not going to yield this. He's going to fight this one.
As
Is
they go
he?
into the-
Yeah, he's still going to fight this one. His Overtaker. Harris right around the outside. And Harris
That
gets
should
the
be
move
it.
done. Good job. Good move. Good fight. I mean, Overtaker put up as much of a fight there as he could. He is so wounded.
He's so wounded. Sam's 12 seconds down the road, so I think an 8th race in a wounded car for Overtaker? That's not a bad result.
No, it's not a bad result at all. Burabeck's gaining on the back of Paolo. And Tarkowski with them as well. And where's Mike? 6 seconds off the back of Sam. Just not going to do it. He'll probably be asking Dan to do one more lap. Dan, 7 seconds clear. There will be one more lap because he can't slow down that much just yet.
No,
So Dan starts the final lap of this race.
Leader is on the final lap. Give it all you can.
So Overtaker's just got to hang on for one more lap. Really?
Well, lap and a half where he is on the circuit right about now. Well, lap and a third. Ascari chicane.
If you have liked what you've seen here, don't forget to hit that bell to be notified when we go live. Hit the thumbs up button if you like what you see, and don't forget to hit that big red subscribe button as well. Dan Davies will be back live for Suzuka at 8 PM BST next time out. As the clocks go forward, Overtaker very wide again through the exit to Parabolica there. And then myself and PM Motorsport will be back live next Wednesday. Dan's actually got his lights off on my screen.
He has on mine as well.
But I'm just looking at his stream, his lights are on.
There's the game glitch.
So, yeah, I'm not
His rear
sure.
lights are on, so
Yeah, I'm not sure what that is all about, but hey, I can see on his stream his lights are on, so that's no worries. But yeah, myself and Piano will be back live 8 PM BST for Pro at Suzuka next Thursday. Paolo's been passed by Burabex.
I'm going to miss that hour's extra.
Paolo's in the pits.
He is in the pits, and that's a returner pit as well.
I think so, yeah. Well, it's
Because
not a
he doesn't have the
retirement.
P. It's not a retirement. He's done enough of the
He's
race.
done the 3/4 mark. But that'll give everybody an extra position. But Dan Davis here, he's not been the fastest man on circuit tonight. but he's about to take his third race win of the season. Hasn't won since race 1 of Alton Park. It is going to be his 77th race win. 8.6 seconds up the road. He's flashing the lights this time. Let's hope he doesn't spin it this time. He does not. Dan Davis, a 77 race winner here. He wins the second race and takes the fastest lap on the last lap of the race, PM.
Oh, saved it just for the end.
Alex Powell comes home for P2. Great result for him. Graham is going to come home for a solid P3. Good pair of results for him tonight. Gary Leach, P4. What a result from Gary. Great drive that. Simon Blair's going to come home for a P5. Jamal Clouden will take P6. Harris on debut will take P7. No, not bad at all. Hats off to Overtake. A great drive with a damaged car. That's going to be P8.
Fantastic drive.
Sam only gained 3 seconds on that last lap. Sam, P9. Not a bad result for him, P9. It's his best. It equals, no, it's not his best. His best is 8th. Mike Matthews, though, P10. Not the race for Mike Matthews. De Hoffner in his Aston Martin. A good 11th place, 10th and 11th for him tonight. Just ahead of Ward. There, so Ward comes home for 12th. Tarkowski will take 13th.
Here comes Sully.
Sully, again, not the race to for him. First fastest lap, 13th. First fastest lap, 14th. They have been his racers so far. Borough Becks will just hang on in there for 15th place over that of Ramy Fernie.
Sherry in 17th.
Yeah, Sherry 17th. We just awaited Bourchier also returned to pits, and somebody has left the lobby.
Yeah. Who was it?
Was Overtaker. No, it wasn't.
No, he's still on.
No, he's 7th. He's 7th, so it's someone ahead of Overtaker. It was Alex.
It was Alex, yeah.
So all them results I've just inputted are probably wrong until we see the end result then.
Well, everyone's returned to the pit, so we've got to wait for Tomer now. So yeah, Alex was P... No, it's not there because Alex disappeared. It's not updated.
Yeah. So I'm going to have to do them right at the end. At the moment then, to Shaggy I think will be 18th.
Yeah,
and we just wait for the final timing screen. At the moment then, we will await Dan Davis to join us in the commentary box as he does so now. Again, we are just going to wait through. We can't update the tables at the moment. So we may as well speak with Dan briefly while we wait for the final classification. With Alex leaving, obviously, we are unsure who's finished where at the bottom half of the grid. Believe Bourchier might be 21st. Got to look at his lap. Seri, we believe, will be 17th. P. Williams will be 18th. Paolo, 19th. We believe... Here we go. So yeah, no, Paolo 20th, P. Williams 19th. Shaggy was 18th. Yeah. 17th was Siri. Yeah, which means Sky Shundemeyer 22nd. Losser didn't take to the start of the race. Bourchier 21st. And then Paolo 20th in the race. De Hoffner 11th. Yes, he was, right. So we can now bring you the final tables at the moment after today, and the top 15 are the only 15 who can win the championship now. It was 28 and below, but because of Dan Davis's race win, it is now 16 and below who can't. Dan Davis 41 points clear of Mike Matthews. Alex Power is 124 behind in second place. Gary Leach moves into fourth ahead of Joe, who stays P5, overtaken 5 points behind him in sixth. Clouden now goes ahead of Sky Shundelmeyer, then it's Graham in ninth, Simon Blair 10th, Ramy Fernie 11th, them two swap around. Paolo 12th ahead of Luke. Siri goes ahead of Nash for 14th. Borough Becks is 16th with Sam in 17th. To Hoffner moves up to 18th, and it is from S2M Borough Becks down that cannot win the championship. Clarbel 19th. P. Williams moves into the top 20. Sully 21st with J Ward 22nd. Darren Yo 23rd. Tarkowski 24th. Andrew Taylor 25th. Losser, Cutiers, DeFizz, Dennis Newman, Graham Sutcliffe, Borchette up to 31st. Globewriter, Shaggy up to 33rd. Dan Brave, Harris, Tech Leader, Costa Marshall, and then Roy. My constructors tables, we'll give these a little refresh as well. And there is only now 4 teams that can win the Constructors. So because of Dan's great drive, 4 teams can win it. It is SimPlay Racing, 330 points clear of BTC Jaeger. Gary obviously scoring points on their own with 639 left. And there's 213 up for grabs each week. So that could be done next week for SimPlay Racing. Mathematically, that could be the equation. Let me just take a look at that and see if that is correct. Yeah, depending on what they outscore them by, that could be done next week. BTC Jaeger then are 130 points clear of the Haggis Munchers. Team FBR just behind them. Then it's Ottinger All-Star, Stage 2 Motorsport. Red Rum stay ahead of Button Basher Racing. Greasy Bandit P9 just behind Button Bashers. Then it's BDM, Effect Motorsport, JB, 2 Old Dams, and Audi Sport. And in the manufacturers, McLaren obviously won last week. Then it is BMW ahead of Ferrari, but Ferrari are 5 points behind BMW in that manufacturers standing, so all up for grabs for second place. Porsche, Lamborghini, then Porsche, Aston Martin, Mercedes, Bentley, Audi 190 behind Bentley, so Audi have really closed that gap as well. Then it is Honda and Nissan. But we can now speak with your 77-time race winner here at SimPlay Motorsport, the 7-time champion, Dan Davis. That was a good victory.
Oh man, that was intense. That was intense. But yes, that's what I needed. Mike having issues. Yeah, that's what I needed. But first things first, big up Alex, big up Overtaker, Mike, who else? Gary, I think also P. Williams as well. All the drivers I raced tonight, other than the first lap incident at race 1, it has been very clean, very fair. And first things first, I want to apologise to Overtaker. When I came up to him at the chicane, I seemed to have lost front downforce and braking and gave him a slight tap. I waited and waited and waited and gave him a bit more of a gap as well. But yeah, I got it done. I got a race win.
When did that one happen, Dan? 'Cause I don't think we caught that one on stream.
Alex got quite close to us, if you remember.
Oh, okay, yeah.
At one point.
Then, yeah.
So literally just before that was the contact. I gave Overtaker a tap on the rear. He went a little bit wide on the second corner, and yeah, I was just waiting and waiting and waiting, and then they both Graham and Alex came up behind us. So
what happened to?
I waited for as long as possible.
Sorry, what happened to Sully? Because we saw him leading. We was watching battles down the pack, and then all of a sudden, you and Overtaker was through.
He dropped it at Ascari, on the exit of Ascari. He looked like he hit the exit curb all on his own. None of us touched him. He was all just dropped it by himself, and around he went. So, which was a shame for him, and he went straight in the wall, damaged straight away. So,
now the start of that race, he was putting Overtaker under some immense pressure, to the point where Overtaker missed his braking a couple of times. Did you have a mistake through the second chicane where Overtaker went deep?
Yeah. So the problem I was having, I wanted to follow Sully and Overtaker around. I didn't actually want to race him because I wanted to clear Alex. I know what Alex's pace is like, especially when he gets going, and it was just I wanted to work with them and not against them. And they were both quite slow in the kind of start of the race, and I got alongside Overtaker. He missed his brakes and went deep, and then I touched the outside curb and the rear snapped on me on entry, and I was just trying to hang in there to not go around, which obviously dropped me back. So where Overtaker cut the corner and gained an advantage, I was too busy having my own movement to really capitalise on that. So I mean, yeah, I think he gave the time up ever so slightly, but it is what it is. I'm not going to put it in. It's racing at the end of the day. He made a mistake and I made a mistake, so
it was a good fight between yourself, though. You managed to get the undercut in the pit lane, and talk us through his mistake, because I assume he'd made the mistake trying to catch you back up after you got past him in the pits.
I'm not actually sure. I don't know if he was possibly still carrying that rear end damage that I possibly gave him, and again, I apologise for that. I didn't mean to do that. But the dirty air behind the cars in the wet seemed horrendous. I was tiptoeing behind Overtaker for so long, and just being cautious, careful on the throttle, and just when you're in dirty air, it was just horrendous. But I guess he had a taste of that dirty air, and he went off. So I can't really see, to be honest, because it's pitch black. After
there, when he made his mistake, though, it was pretty plain sailing for yourself. You managed to stay out in front and just build a gap.
Yeah, build a gap. I was just maintaining the gap to Alex, and I had a bit of a sketchy moment. I saw Porsche going off, and he looked like he was about to come back on track, but span it round. So I was like, whoa, stay there. Yeah, managed to keep it all together, and I managed to get around Parabolica while flashing the lights and not dropping it on the last lap. So, make up for Silverstone's flashing. But yeah, and just to rub salt in the wound for Mike, I tried going for fastest lap near the end and I got it. So I was more happy about that, to be honest.
Yeah, got the fastest lap. That obviously gives you the extra point that puts 40-odd points between you and Mike. And I said to Mike in the first race, I'll ask you the same now. Constructors looks pretty much in the bag. Is it gloves off between the pair of you two now?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, if race 1 didn't prove it, I don't know what will. I know for a fact that me and Mike are very much as fair as we come, and we want to have a great race, but we're not going to be stupid. But he's got more to. I got more to risk, while he's got more to gain. So it's all in Mike's hands. I'm just going to keep turning up and doing what I do. He knows I'm going to be consistent, and he knows I'm not going to do anything stupid. So it's who basically doesn't make the mistake, really. I think from now until Kyle Army, 2 circuits I like, and I think he's got 2 circuits that he likes. So yeah, we'll see how we go.
We go to Suzuka next week. Obviously, Lamborghini. I believe you've driven around there back in the Project Cars 2 days. What can you do? What do you expect to do next week?
The last time I drove Suzuka was in the Audi, and I wasn't too keen around Suzuka there. But I don't know what to expect from this car. It's kind of a weird car. It's not seems to be strong in one particular area. It's understeers a little bit, so I might struggle in the S's. But I don't know until I have the package. I'm just hoping that it's dry for once at Suzuka. I love a wet race, but Suzuka in the wet is just horrendous. And hopefully we can have a great fight like me and Fury did a couple of seasons ago in the GT4s. So,
which Mike
Suzuka he did win. So hopefully I'm hoping for Joe to come back for Suzuka, because that would be fun.
Indeed it will. Dan, thank you very much. Congratulations on your race win tonight. If you want to hear more of Dan Davis, he'll be back live in the commentary box next Wednesday evening, 8 p.m. BST for that one. Don't forget, in the United Kingdom, the clocks go forward this weekend, so it'll be 8 p.m. BST for Dan Davis in that one. Dan...
Can I make a shout out to all the drivers that I raced tonight? Big up all the drivers, from P. Williams, Gary, Mike, and Overtaker Alex as well. All very respectful. Graham as well. All fantastic tonight. We could have ended up in a complete disaster with these conditions and the Xbox problems we're having, but everyone was pretty much clean, fair, and we weren't driving like amateurs. So congratulations to all the drivers for surviving this round, and look forward to Suzuka. Indeed.
Peter, Dan, you got the audience's vote for driver of the day. I can't see where the poll has gone, but you was on 44%. So you did get the audience's vote for driver of the day. Pian, final thoughts from yourself and driver of the day for you.
Well, my driver of the day, I'm going to give it to Hoffner. He had 2 solid results, really, for the ageing Aston Martin. That up against the newer cars, and it was probably just last everyone in the straight. Monza, that was interesting. Suzuka's going to be dry.
I mean, that's a way to give the weather away, isn't it? Just tell them.
Hey, well, I'm already
I know, but the audience don't know. That's what gets them back. I'm going to give my driver of the day to Simon Blair, 6th and 5th. I thought he's had a fantastic, solid night's worth of points. Good results for him tonight. Toss-up for me between him and Gary Leach. Simon Blair, I'm going to give mine to. Yeah, Suzuka we turn to next. It's going to be fantastic to see. As Pian said, it is dry. That spoils the fun of getting to find out what the weather will be as the audience. You gave it away now. Suzuka will be the racetrack next week. Pro-Am 8 p.m. BST. Dan Davis will be bringing you all the live action of that one. And me and Pian will be back in the commentary box for Pro 8 p.m. BST. 41 points is the championship gap. Constructors can be won next week. And Dan Davis now has the upper hand over his teammate properly for the first time this season. Who will take more glory, or can Mike come back? One way to find out. Hit that bell to be notified when we do go live. Smash the thumbs up button, and as always, hit that big red subscribe button to find out all the action. If you want to get involved here at SimPlay Motorsport, make sure you follow us on our social media, Facebook and TikTok and Instagram. And if you would like to get involved with some of the racing or commentary, stewarding, whatever you'd like to do, head over to our Discord and let us know. We look forward to seeing you in the future. We look forward to seeing you in Japan next week. From all of us here at SimPlay Motorsport, good night.
Good night.
We're clear.
I don't know what I'm testing for.
Fuck you, Mike. And yeah, that's me done on my stream as well. Thank you all for watching. Please hit that follow button. We've had a fantastic Monza, better than I thought it was going to go. So we extend our championship lead. We go to Suzuka, a circuit that if I was in a Formula 1 car I would enjoy, but in a GT3 I tend to not really like it very much. So we'll see how we get on there. But I will be away this weekend, so sadly no Alien Isolation. So I might maybe do that on Tuesday night before the Pro-Ams on Wednesday. But yeah, from myself and everyone at SimPlay Motorsport,
6 months, 27 days till Christmas.
I knew you were going to do that, so that's why I did that.
6 months, 27. No.
See you later.
6 months, 27 days till Christmas. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Dickhead.
Are we clear?